August 20th, right here on Jox 94.5. Glad you're with us. We got a lot to get to today. Trent Dilfer makes his first stop by his weekly visits into the show. Excited about that. It's always fun talking football with Coach Dilfer. Roddy Nabulsi gets us updated on the Georgia quarterback situation. We have more starting quarterbacks across college football to announce. Don't know if it'll be as fun as yesterday's Did You Know? This kid's still playing college football. This guy is still involved in college football. Oh, yeah, by the way, this guy might actually play college football this year.
That was pretty fun yesterday.
We'll get to a couple of those, though. There are a couple of names still floating out there that I think I might be able to ring some bells with for folks that, oh, wow, that guy from there? Okay, cool. We'll see how that goes.
Fire.
Yeah, either way. And then we'll talk to Bill Rabunowitz about Ohio State naming Julian Sayin their starting quarterback. Notre Dame has a starting quarterback now, Greg. C.J. Carr going to be the starter. We've kicked this around the last couple of days. We've had a couple guests on going back and forth about this may be the guy, this might be the guy. But it looks like now it's going to be settled. Based on our information that we had, the conversations we've had off the air, on the air, what do you think Marcus Freeman's mindset is in this decision, specifically going with Carr?
Well, I think this is good news for Notre Dame fans. We'll start with that because the one thing that you'd heard about over the last 3 or 4 weeks was that C.J. Carr was being reckless with the football. And if there's one thing we know about Marcus Freeman is he is not going to go with a quarterback that will turn the ball over and that will put the team in harm's way.
It's not his style.
It's not the way he wants to win football games. He's got some Saban in him.
Yeah, he's a defensive-minded head coach like you have told us. That mindset's going to be don't screw up, don't hurt us, don't kill field position. Like you've laid that out for us.
Correct. We're going to be great on defense. We're going to run the football. And we need our quarterback to make good decisions. But in this current world of college football, it certainly is nice and appetizing to, I don't know, fans, I guess, to be able to light it up and score a bunch of points and throw the ball downfield. Like, how many times have we talked about, like, people hated Michigan until they won the national championship. Why? Because they weren't sexy.
It's so boring.
Oh, it's so boring. They just run it. Like, they think that Ohio State's way better. And we had said all that year that Michigan was the better football team. No, Ohio State's better. Why? Because they throw it. No doubt. So I think that people automatically assume those teams that just throw it all over the yard are better, even though they're not in some cases. And I think that's where Notre Dame kind of is right now, too. Like, they have not had a quarterback that can win them a ball game in a long time. Maybe Ian Book was that guy occasionally, but not at the highest levels of the sport. Now it feels like the rest of the roster is good enough to contend with everybody except for the quarterback last year, which was not as good as what they had on the other side in some cases. So we'll be curious to see where it goes. I think it's good news, though, because I do think C.J. Carr has the highest ceiling amongst their quarterbacks. And this will allow them to potentially, if the game becomes a shootout, hopefully be able to keep up.
It gives you some of that playmaking ability, but you and I have talked about the defense where it'll be, even with massive losses, there are a lot of things in place for where that defense still could be solid. Even with an injury or two on that offensive line, that group could still be really good. Mm-hmm. Here's the one thing that I would just say about the replacement, where it's going to be, how it's going to be. You're not going to get Riley Leonard's experience, so that part is just not going to matter, no matter where you went, how you go with it. I agree with all that stylistic verbiage as it pertains to Marcus Freeman, and honestly, as it pertains to just trying to go win football games. The one thing that I would point to, G-Mac, and I don't know if there's a stat out there that we could grab that would give you this, that would kind of open people's eyes to it, but you know, because you called, their last 3 games or 2 of their last 3 games?
Last 4.
And Riley Leonard got them out of jams so many times last year.
Correct.
Like, he wasn't dynamic. You didn't get the 80-yard runs. He wasn't running people over, but just a 3rd and 4 when he runs for 6 and he leaves the pocket, avoiding a second down sack on 2nd and 6 that would have made it 3rd and 12. And all of a sudden, they give it to Jeremiah Love and he goes for 7 and they pick up the first down. Just those little things that he did seemingly time after time after time.
Right.
You're not guaranteed to get that, no matter how athletic, no matter how much playmaking ability you have, because if there's one thing that Riley Leonard had was that just sort of that gamer inside of him.
In spades, he had that.
Yep.
And while he did have limitations, you cannot deny his limitations throwing the football. There were some. He was a baller, and he was a tough dude, and he was a good leader, and he knew how to play the game. So I think that is – I thought there was a real possibility based on what you're hearing that they would go Kenny Minchey because he could at least run the football. Like, when in doubt, he could make something out of nothing running the football. Now, watching him throw next to CJ Carr, it's not comparable. I still think Kenny Minchey will have a role in this offense because quarterback run game was so big on 3rd and short, 4th and short, and in the red zone. So I still think Minchey will play, but I think this is a positive if you want to see Notre Dame evolve at the quarterback spot. This is the most high-profile quarterback they've had from a recruit standpoint since Jimmy Clausen, and has a chance to be the most talented quarterback they've had since Brady Quinn. We'll see how it all ends up, but I do think that from a standpoint of getting the most out of their offense, this is the guy that gives them that chance.
Yes, big time. So Notre Dame, CJ Carr going to be the starting quarterback, and there's not much break-in time. That runway not going to be very long for Notre Dame as far as getting this season started. Now, of course, you want to talk about being able to have a little bump in the road. You lost to Northern Illinois at home last year, so it's not as though things won't be a little bit more forgiving, and maybe you will get a little more benefit of the doubt than some other teams. And I'm not even saying they didn't deserve to get in last year, but just they're going to have some benefits that a lot of other teams wouldn't have. But this is not really the start to a season, GMAC, that you're going to have a lot of time to break a new guy in if there are going to be some headaches with that position.
No, because if there's one thing we know is that Miami is going to be able to rush the passer. And last year, I think Notre Dame's offensive line developed in a real position of strength. I think it has a chance to be again this year. So if that offensive line's ready to roll, they should be able to neutralize the defensive front that Miami's going to be breathing fire with.
Let's just put it this way. When was the last time it wasn't a strength?
For Notre Dame?
Correct. I'm not saying it's been
I would say
the best
edges,
in the nation every year,
yeah.
but it hasn't been a liability in quite some time.
I would say the edges last year were a little vulnerable early in the year.
Sure.
Doesn't mean they didn't. I mean, granted, they also started a true freshman.
Yeah, the freshman and what, a third teamer?
Yeah, so that's not, that doesn't help. But I think there's a lot of reason to believe this has a chance to be a top 5 unit in the country.
I would agree.
I think
part of that because there aren't a lot of groups that you and I would look at and say that group's going to be incredible.
Whose can you definitively say is much better? I think you can say A&M potentially, really Florida good. Potentially, Utah potentially.
Alabama could be better than they were
Alabama
last year.
Potentially, but like Notre Dame's in that mix.
100%.
I mean, those are the 5. There's not really another one right now that I can point to and say, yep, that's a top 5 unit. I know you love Georgia because look how recruit.
That's me, recruiting star guy.
I know you love Oklahoma. Look how Beatenbow. But I really think this is but that's the thing. Well, I'm really curious because Miami is breaking out a new defense. They're going with a completely different defensive philosophy. They bring in a coordinator in Corey Heatherman from Minnesota, who's notorious for being simple. And when I say simple, it's not negative. It's just they don't really do a lot. They just let players play. Hey, go play man. All right. Cover that guy. Cool.
Got it.
Play cover 2. I can handle that, coach.
And you and I talked to Brian Driscoll about this when we had him on. Was it earlier this week or late last week? Maybe Friday.
Yeah.
And Al Golden didn't get enough credit last year. And I don't think Denbrock gets enough credit for what he does. I think you talk about a guy that can not even as much Al Golden. Al Golden had to do it more with the different pieces he was forced to manage and work with last year. And he created pressure and created problems for people. But I think Denbrock playing the hand that he's dealt is as good as anybody. Now, does that mean he's going to put up 5,000 yards passing every year? No. And have 2,000-yard receivers? Probably not. But if he needs to play 3 tight ends for 3 games, 80% of the time, he'll do it. If he needs to spread it out and let Jaden Daniels win a Heisman, he'll do it.
Yep.
And so I just think Denbrock's vastly underrated. Al Golden was great for that team last year.
Al Golden was amazing. And when I think that's one question mark that I have going into the season about Notre Dame is who's calling the plays. It's no disrespect to Chris Ash. I really like Chris Ash. I've known him for 10 years. Like I really like the guy. I think he's a good coach. But I do believe that there has not been a coordinator that I have met with in the last 5 or 6 years that can more accurately describe how the game is going to go in the meetings that we had the day before. Like we would sit there and Cole wasn't in the meeting with me, But we would talk after the fact that I'm sure he got with Golden prior to the Georgia game, I think, right?
And you and I sat there and talked to him for like 20 minutes after the media session.
Yeah,
That
that's
was the
right.
most
Media
amazing
days.
part
That's
of
right.
media days.
I was trying to think. I thought you were
You
there.
and I sat there and talked to Golden for 20 minutes, and then we talked to Denbrock for 15 minutes, and like nobody else even tried to come in there and interrupt us.
No.
It's just like there were 4 media members there, and then Georgia walks in there, and Gunnar Stockton takes a podium, and it's 50 people deep. And
Yeah.
you're just like, wow. You think Marcus Freeman's going to use this? It's pretty apparent. I mean, and I think they did use it somewhat as motivation of, hey, nobody thinks you guys they didn't care to talk to you guys.
Probably.
So,
The other thing I'd say, though, about it is, it's kind of amazing. When you talked to Golden last year, and we did 5 of their games, 4 in the postseason, 1 in the regular season, sitting there and talking to him and hearing him describe how the game was going to go. Here's what they're going to do to us. Here's how we're going to defend it. Here's what we have to do along the line of scrimmage, because if we do this, we can't do it. We can't match up. We got to do this to this receiver. And he would like draw out exactly what the plan was going to be and exactly how the game is going to work out. And my goodness, as if it was like a prophet. He's sitting there predicting exactly how the game went. And I'm sitting there in the booth like, oh my gosh, this is going exactly how Golden said it was going to go. So I think making sure that they can adequately replace that foresight will be challenging. The scheme won't change, but understanding what you got to do to run your offense or run your defense and how the game's going to go is something I'll be curious to see how they do with that.
yeah, it's going to be a fun year to watch Notre Dame football. And as I mentioned, that runway, not lengthy. They will open up August 31st at Miami. They'll take a week off, and then they have Texas A&M at home. So 2 defenses that can give you a lot of looks, that have a lot of athleticism, and that can be very problematic. Then you get Purdue, and then you're at Arkansas, one in which we've talked about Travis Williams, who in one-game settings can be fantastic in putting a different plan together, doing some different things that maybe you haven't shown on film. And then after that, you don't think Boise State's going to punch you in the face defensively, come after you a little bit? So it's a tough start for that Notre Dame defense. Probably more difficult than a lot of folks are going to give it credit for. People will look at Miami and A&M and say, ooh, but they won't look at 2 of the next 3 and probably see the difficulty there. I'll be interested to see what NC State looks like. I don't think Dave Doran's team is going to be down as long as it has. I expect somewhat of a bounce back year.
Yeah.
Personnel or not. So we'll see where Notre Dame is. Come halfway point in the season, which would be right heading into the USC game, which we know that's the rivalry game for the Irish. It'll be a fun watch to see kind of where they are and what they're doing. But either way, it's not fun being out in this Alabama heat all the time. It can be absolutely brutal. Don't let it punish your family. Don't let it affect your home. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train. 7:30 Trent Dill for 8 o'clock riding to Bull Seat. 9:20 we will talk to Bill Rabunowitz. When we come back, some notes around quarterbacks in the SEC and some things out of Auburn yesterday that have some people upset. We'll discuss all that and more next right here on Jox. 8 o'clock hour will go around the SEC, get you updated from some SEC camps, some news, notes of what's happening through fall practice. But first, I don't know why, but I love naming the starting quarterbacks here on the show and just getting reactions from people. It's fun. Army senior quarterback Dwayne Coleman has been named the starter. This is interesting because he's a senior. He only started one game last year. But we don't get a lot of these guys that have been in programs 4 or 5 years and all of a sudden get their chance for a year and then they become the guy. So he will be the guy moving forward. Played well when they needed him last year. He is that guy. We mentioned Notre Dame, C.J. Carr going to be the starter last segment. The Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette have named Walker Howard their starting quarterback. Former LSU, former Ole Miss quarterback. He is going to start for the Raging Cajuns this year. That should come as absolutely no surprise, correct?
I mean,
4 or 5 star talent, whatever he was, big time ability.
He was like, big time recruit.
So I don't think a lot of people are going to look at that and say, "Oh, well, that's shocking." What I did find a little more shocking is that who he was able to take this job from.
Oh.
Now, this is not the normal game that we play of, hey, this guy's still around, but I just had to get this one out there.
Ty Detmer.
What was our name that we had yesterday? D-Freeze? D-Icy.
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 Or potentially Dicey.
Dicey.
I mean, that might
Depending
be,
on
that might be the
where
first
you live.
pronunciation I ask for.
Yeah.
For our opener.
Dicey.
The situation is, he beats out redshirt sophomore Lunch Winfield. That's an all-time.
What's his nickname? Sack?
So you're telling me lunch got taken?
Sack Lunch?
Now listen. I would.
What's his nickname? Money? Lunch Money?
The first thing that came to mind is, and listen, if you guys want to go look at Pete Thamel's tweet, Louisiana named former Ole Miss LSU quarterback their starter, and just I don't know, Greg. You tell me if this would be the direction that you would gone. He beats out Lunch to win the job. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, Lunch is a great name. I'm hoping it's a nickname.
He and Daniel Beal were apparently in the running and didn't get it done.
All I can think about is the Key and Peele skit right now, where they're announcing the starting lineups. And I can only imagine Lunch Winfield, like Lunch Winfield, Lunch Winfield. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Dicey Coleman.
I still like Dicey. Could be.
It can't be Dicey.
That'd be amazing.
It cannot be Dicey.
That'd be incredible.
It just can't be.
Dude can't be called Lunch either, but here we are.
Like Greg said, if it's a nickname, I think you look at it and you say, okay, we understand kind of where you're going with that. Coming out of the womb and you just say, Lunch, I got to know time of day he was born.
That's the first question. I think it's a fair one. I might add.
I'm looking
Better
at
not be
I'm looking at the roster right now, and it is no like William Lunch Winfield. It's just Lunch Winfield. It's an all-timer, which begs the question: lunch better than dinner? Lunch better than breakfast? If you disagree with both,
Lunch is the best for sure.
by the way, if you had 3 boys, breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Breakfast,
right
lunch,
there.
and supper, depending on where you live.
fair, or how old you are. And then if you had your 4th child was a girl, is she just like snack or?
I don't know if you want to name a daughter Snack. That
Fair.
might be setting her up for
Or is just if you
I'll
had
say
if you had a
something,
4th
yeah.
boy,
Unless she
is he
plans on playing
appetizer?
offensive line, I don't think Snack's a good name.
I mean, if you had a 4th boy, where does he fall in? Is he snack?
Late night.
Is he appetizer?
Yeah, late night.
Buffet?
fourth meal.
Delivery?
4th meal Williams.
Supplement? I mean, he's on the all-name team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So that'll be your starter for the Cajuns, and one that obviously we'll be paying attention to. A lot of bad news recently for the Michigan Wolverines. Good news is they get the number 1 running back in the 2026 class, Savion Hitter. He commits. So apparently things are not falling apart in Ann Arbor, specifically from a recruiting standpoint.
Well, that's good news. I was really worried about it. You concerned?
You thought things were going to crash and burn?
Not particularly. I
by
hadn't
the
really
way,
been thinking a lot about Michigan's recruiting, but
let me just throw this out there quickly.
Yes.
Lunch Winfield, high school.
He's back to lunch.
I can't get away from you. I'm sorry. Louisiana Sports Writers Association Class 4A Offensive Player of the Year in 2022 and Best Player of the Year at the 2022 Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club after accounting for 4,657 yards and 70 touchdowns as a senior. Not 7.
70.
70 touchdowns. 70 touchdowns in a season. 38 on the ground. 32 through the air. Wow. Okay.
All right.
All right. And by the way, is it Lucher? John?
Luncher?
No.
Luther Burden?
Helped Lucher or Lutcher win its 9th Louisiana High School Athletic Association State Championship, passing for 299, 3 touchdowns, rushing 43 times for 130 yards and a touchdown in the championship game.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity that, yes, he's a quarterback, probably should have been the receiver. That way he can throw it out to lunch.
I feel like he packed his lunch for that game.
Who didn't see that one coming?
Apparently that defense.
All the defenses, actually, that he played that year. Goodness gracious. All right, so also Oklahoma State has booted former Miami safety Zaquan Patterson from their football team. He's no longer a part of that roster. High-profile recruit, super talented, got another shot there in Stillwater. Not going to happen. And also yesterday, Greg, Ed Orgeron, who is on with our guys, and pardon my take, saying he thinks it's time again to get back in the game, ready to step back in, ready to coach again. Do you anticipate Ed Orgeron will be a head coach again?
Another one. What is it about these coaches talking about how badly they want to get back in the action?
Give us the Harbaugh quote.
Play as long as you can, coach as long as you can, die.
There it is.
That's the way coaches live.
No, not much in between there.
Yeah.
The old coaching profession.
I mean, goodness gracious, between Jimbo, between Gruden, Orgeron, Saban, everybody just trying to get back in.
Well, Gruden specified the SEC and then specifically Auburn as to where he may want to be. So that was a little bit more weird than some other folks. Also,
why
Auburn,
is that, by the way, where do you think Gruden? You know what? Gruden feels like a perfect fit for
Tennessee. His
Iowa.
wife was a cheerleader.
Like, where
there.
else is he going to coach?
Yeah.
He's going to coach in the SEC, baby. Groomers.
A little other recruiting news quickly. 4-star wide receiver DeMarcus DeRoche, 2027 class, committed to Miami. 6'5", 205 from Key West. Chose Miami over Florida, North Carolina State, and Auburn. So that's just some other recruiting news that we had from yesterday and today. Auburn, by the way, announcing they're going to retire number 2. Are you okay with this?
Not surprised. Probably, I'm surprised it wasn't already retired. I mean, Colorado retired Shador's number last week. It took Cam 15 years?
I think it was before his senior year, wasn't it? Shador got his done.
I don't know. It took so long.
The only thing that I just think it's tough sometimes to retire numbers in college because the turnover is just so much. But if you're going to retire one, that's one of the ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 34 is, you'd think, 2 after the season he had, probably shut down as well. But
it's not yet, though.
And then it'll be a recruiting ploy for some player to say, can I ask his permission to wear it? And off you go.
I bet Bo would say no.
I just got a message from one of our listeners saying that Auburn claiming 9 national championships is the story of the offseason.
I don't know about that.
I could begin my list of other things that I feel like are, 1, a more entertaining conversation and more meaningful in college football, and 2, people care more about. But nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps.
There were a lot of people up in arms about this yesterday. I, number one, don't understand why you do it. I also don't really care because I don't think it changes how things are viewed, how people look at things. I don't think it has anything to do. The thing that was really surprising was some of the guys that played before me at Auburn, recently before me, and the frustrations that they had with it. That, oh, this happens now. And because I think some of them deserve a little bit more credibility for what they did and what they accomplished as opposed to what they got, like right when they did it or right after they did it. Do we need to talk about this more? Is this a big deal?
I just want to know if they're going to be.
People care. 800-239-9569. Do you care that Auburn's claiming national championships?
I just want to know, and I feel like this is a fair question. If I play on the 1903 team, do I get my ring?
I hope so.
I want my ring. I might be 141 years old.
I think Willie Anderson was asking on Twitter yesterday, does he get his ring now? Do they finally get their rings?
Yeah, where's the ring? Show me the money.
Will Terry Bowden get a backdated bonus for winning a national championship game?
That's absolutely contractually probably a very fair question, and I would have Thomas Marsh working on that today. Whoops, didn't see that coming, did you?
I absolutely don't care about Auburn claiming national titles. Same reason why I don't care about UCF claiming national titles. Same reason why I don't care or get bent out of shape about the people that claim that Alabama claims national titles. I just don't care. Like, if you want to claim a national title because it makes you feel better, by all means, claim it. I don't care. I'll acknowledge the national champions that I saw with my own two eyes.
I do want to bring that up, though, because I actually had that conversation with somebody yesterday, and I will say I don't think I have been addressing that conversation as accurately as I needed to in different ways since it's all gone down, mainly referencing 2004. We will talk about that on the back end of this hour. Riding to Bullseye Talks Georgia at 8. Trent Dilfer makes his first visit with us next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to get to Coach Trent Dilfer on the Higginbotham hotline here in just a moment. We told you about a couple of starting quarterbacks that have been announced. We'll have some more information, both injury and on starters, as it pertains to SEC teams in the 8 o'clock hour. Before we get to Coach Dilfer, I'm going to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you are lacking sleep, lacking energy, feeling on edge, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you feel better. There's a couple of different ways that they can do it, but it's easy to get started. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for the free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. They get your baseline health. Then they say, here are the different plans in which we can help you. Testosterone replacement, weight loss, other ways like the peptides that they now have in stock that they can just help you be a better you each and every day. Save 10% on any service they offer by mentioning Mac and Cube in the morning. Locker room environment, great people, no stress, holistic approach to health and wellness, minimal upfront cost from the programs that they offer. Go be a better you. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. Trent Dilfer, UAB head football coach, joining us now on the Higginbotham hotline. Coach, now's about the time that you start to turn the page. You get out of camp mode into game preparation mode. What is the thing that you need to see your team shift towards as well, whether it be behavioral, mentality, physicality, whatever that is, now that you've kind of gone from one phase of getting this season ready to the next phase?
Well, first of all, I feel like you guys always do the reader for me. Like
yes,
whatever reader
because we know
have
people
right
are tuned
before I
in, so
come
we
on.
want to give the extra benefit to our advertisers because we know we have Trent Dilfer on. People are going to tune in. So it's just a little added benefit for those folks that are keeping us on the air.
Yeah, but I hear like overweight, lacking testosterone, getting old, and I'm like, yeah, he's speaking to me.
Yes.
We can get you in, Coach.
Yeah, I know. I think to answer your question, I'm just absolutely consumed right now. It's all I can think about. I can't sleep at night of just somehow our bad has to get better. We've been plagued for 2 years with just beating ourselves, and our bad is just so egregiously bad. And honestly, I've been around this a couple times in my football life. One time in the NFL, we're trying to turn the Bucs around early on. This is like early 90s. And then my high school team, that was just so bad you can't even talk about it when I first got there. And before you can win at a consistent level, you got to learn how not to beat yourself. And we just continue to do things every single day that we have to fix when it comes to raising our floor. I always talk about a ceiling and a floor. Like, high ceilings are awesome. And that's what Sports Center shows, and that's what we talk about. And it's awesome. You got to make plays. You got to have playmakers. You got to do explosive things on both sides of the ball. But what we don't talk enough about is that your bad has to be decent. Your bad can't get you beat. There's going to be bad. Like, there's going to be blown assignments. There's going to be drop balls. There's going to be missed tackles. This is college football. This is group of 5 college football. So you got to understand that you have limitations. But those limitations, those mistakes can't be catastrophic. And just through camp, man, there's so many good things. I could come on and be Mr. Optimistic and Mr. Positivity, and there are a lot of really good things I'd love to celebrate. But, like, those things aren't going to matter if we don't raise our floor and learn how to stop the bleeding at times. So, I can talk about positive things, but that is the thing that's keeping me up at night, is we have not fixed that yet.
And that's something that I feel like you will probably be a work in progress all throughout the season, is it not? I mean, at what point do you expect to be a finished product? Because I don't know if you ever are, but that's kind of the big question. I mean, I don't really know if I have the answer to it.
Listen, I can only go on my football life, right?
Right.
And the good things that I've been a part of, you're getting better late in the season. Like, you get better before your last game of the year. If that's the Super Bowl, if that's the college football playoff championship, if that's the bowl game, if that's the state championship, whatever it is, you're getting better. But there's got to be trends that you consistently are getting. And it can only be a couple percent each week. It could be one thing you're getting better at, but you can't see these giant spikes. it can't be the stock market in a volatile time, where there's peaks one days and valleys the next days. It has to be kind of a steady climb upward. And at times I felt that in camp. And then you have these dips, and these dips equal losses. You know what I mean? Like if you're just playing out a 3-week training camp and trying to use it as a microcosm of your season, if you're having these wild dips, then those equal L's, because you're not going to beat a team like Navy or Army that's not going to beat themselves, or Memphis is super talented, or South Florida, or obviously, University of Tennessee and Knoxville. Like, you're not going to beat these teams if your lows are really low. Now, if you just have tiny little plateau levels or tiny little dips, and then you immediately jump up from those dips, now you got a fighting chance. You can get the game in the fourth quarter and make a play here or there, and you win the game. But that's the thing, that if you're watching us, like, if we play sound, fundamental, clean football, we will naturally be explosive, because we've recruited at a very high level playmakers, and we have them on both sides of the ball and on special teams, and they will naturally make plays in the course of a long football game. The problem is we just can't, crush ourselves with these giant mistakes.
Who are some of those playmakers that UAB fans should be excited about right now? Should be anticipating watching play against Alabama State Thursday night, August 28th?
He's been a little banged up the last 7-8 days with some soft tissue stuff, but he's back. Sherrod Bryant's had an exceptional camp at safety. He came back out. He entered the portal. He came back. We really invested in him. He started first last year. He's one of the few returning starters on our football team. Didn't have a great spring, didn't have a great summer, and then really had a great camp and made a lot of plays. I think on the back end, we have a lot of guys that have been making plays in the secondary. Eli Ennis, Devin Hightower, the two inside linebackers, have made a lot of plays, both in the run game, the pass game. Jermichael Rogers, who got from Miles College, has made a lot of plays. And Maury Morrison, who we got out of the portal at defensive end. Denver Warren. Like, there's some playmakers on defense. It's definitely made a lot of plays. Now, saying all that, we've also had a lot of explosives against our defense. And as a head coach, you don't know, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing because the offense is making them? Or is it a bad thing because the defense is giving them up? So that's one of those things in training camp. You're just like, gosh, I don't know if this is good or bad. Offensively, it's kind of the same group. Corey Milner's continuing to make big plays. Quarterbacks continue to make big plays. Our running backs have made a lot. Iverson Hooks has been really explosive in camp when healthy. So, we've had guys consistently show up and make plays, but all those people I just mentioned also have to raise their floors significantly so they become more consistent players as well.
Coach, when you look at week one, I know you're a handful of days away. I know it'd be easy in some cases for your guys to maybe look beyond week one, given what's coming up on the schedule after that. How do you make sure they hone in on the opportunity that is directly in front of them, as opposed to looking down the line a little bit, knowing that week one is not going to be the toughest matchup they have this season?
Well, I will say this, and every coach is going to give this answer, Greg. You know this, but I absolutely mean this statement. We are tingly about the Alabama State game because, remember, I watched every single Alabama State defensive snap in December, every one, because I was looking at Ryan Lewis, who we ended up hiring as our corners coach. So I went and watched every single snap of that defense, and they are gnarly. Like, they were dominant in FCS football, and they play group of five football defense. Like, they are stout, they're fast, they run to the ball, they're incredibly well coached. So offensively, as we look at Alabama State, we're like, okay, this is a challenge. Like, these guys could be in our conference defensively. I know from our defensive standpoint, I was in the scouting report meeting, and they have talented offensive players, and our defense is a work in progress. That's 10 new starters, 18 new contributors, all new coaches. So, like, they're still feeling it out who they are defensively. So you look at an opponent, I don't care who it is. We could be playing Lipscomb Academy or Thompson High School in the first week, and I think you would have some pause because you don't really know who you are yet defensively. So we are definitely not overlooking that. And then you take into account we've only won a handful of games over 2 years. So everybody knows who we are. And we have a lot to prove and a lot to earn. So out of all the things I'm worried about, us being ready for week one is not one of them.
Coach, I want to get your thoughts on week one. We hear different attitudes, demeanors, mindsets towards this. Everybody says, oh, it's your first opponent. You had the whole offseason to work on this team. I don't think it always works that way. How much of an advantage can it really be, though? How much more time do you spend on this opponent, as you will, your other weekly opponents throughout the course of the season? I don't think a lot of our listeners have heard a coach kind of lay out the differences in first opponent of the season with that entire offseason and then the difference between opponents that they're going to face on a weekly basis.
I'll try to do this in a Reader's Digest version. So much of what football game planning is really a look into the DNA of your opponent. So you're trying to look at how they're wired. You know, how do they think? What do they want to be? What are their weaknesses? What are their strengths? Like, if you could jump into their meetings, what are they being told? So that's kind of the DNA report that you're looking for. So you get more evidence on a team after 3, 4, 5 weeks of the regular season. You can better assume those things. You can better predict those things. The challenge with week 1 and 2 especially is that report that you're building is from last year. And now let's go back 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. You could put together a decent one because you could go then study the year before and see who left and who's coming up. Okay, that kid was a backup last year, got 12 snaps a game. He's going to be a starter. Or that starter's back. He was a junior. Now he's a senior. Hey, the coaching staff's intact. We know what this coordinator thinks. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's going to run basically the same stuff. They'll have a surprise for us, but it won't be that big of a deal. Well, now blow all that model up because every team is a new team. You don't know who the players are. You don't know who won starting jobs. You can't go and watch every single player at their old team and get a real good feel for them. A lot of coaching turnover, so you don't know what schemes they're going to use. So you go into weeks 1 and 2 kind of blind of what you're going to get. Alabama State has been a 4-down team consistently. Are they going to run an odd front? My guess is yes. You know what I mean? So you have to prepare for an odd front and an even front. They've been a quarters-based team. Are they going to play more one high? So now you got to get your quarterbacks to maybe look at the film a little differently. Offensively, they played 5 quarterbacks last year. Who's going to be the quarterback? And with their quarterback, what style offense are they going to run? They've showed some quarterback run. They've showed some spread. They've showed some big people. They've showed some 11. What are they doing right now? You don't know because you have no visual evidence of it. You have no tape to study from this year. So it is a real challenge, but they don't know who we're going to be either. I mean, if you're prepping for us, you're going back to Air Force 2017 to see what Steve Russ was doing. So they don't know what Brett Wiesemeyer believes in defensive football. They don't know our coverage schemes, our front profiles. Like, they don't know those things. Offensively, are we going to be the same last year as we were this year? Same this year as we were last year. They don't know that. So it's a challenge for both sides, for both teams. But it definitely gives you some angst as you get ready for the first couple games.
Great stuff, Coach. Really appreciate you filling us in on that. That's kind of how your mindset works, operates. Because you can flood yourself, too, on that first opponent, I would imagine, correct? You can spend too much time on them because you do have the extra time to spend, which can maybe make you think too much or put too much into a gameplay. It can work against you, I imagine, in a certain way. Yeah,
so that was our staff meeting yesterday, was like you can't use this week because this is a hybrid week. We're not in camp, but we're not in regular season mode either. So what I had to remind the staff of is it's our natural inclination to want to move forward and get ahead of Alabama State, but then there'll be an Alabama State fatigue to that. And let's not forget, we're not very good yet. And that was really what I had to tell the staff was, guys, this is a great week to get better at blocking and tackling and throwing and catching and lining up and communicating and effort and attitude, like the core fundamentals of winning football, let's not lose sight that we're still not great at those things. So let's be great at those things. We have plenty of time to put together a plan for Alabama State. So there's a definite fine line there. It happens all the time in the NFL in the bye week. Like, oh, let's get ahead on the next opponent. And then you end up losing after the bye week because you're fatigued on that opponent prep. When the teams that, you look at these teams, I think Andy Reid's one of them that wins almost every time after a bye week. They don't do any prep for the next opponent, none. It is all fundamental work. It's getting back. It's us versus us. So I think you have to take an us versus us approach until you get to that week. And then you're like, okay, us is better now because we want us versus us. Now let's go us versus them.
Coach, thank you for the stuff today. Thank you for the information today. We look forward to visiting with you each week here for the rest of the season, and we will do our best to limit the ad reads before we have you on again.
No, I love them. They speak to me. See you guys.
Thank you, Trent Dilfer, UAB head football coach, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. When we come back, I don't care about the claimed portion of this, but there is a part of this 2004 conversation that I feel like I personally have missed on for a long time. 800-239-9569. You can text in 205-834-9450. Tweet in @MacandCube. Claiming titles, right, wrong, indifferent, but that actual 2004 season, we're going to revisit it for just a moment when we come back next right here on Jox.
McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:52, Birmingham, Alabama. Bill Smith Buick GMC is right up the road. I-65 exit 310. The deals that you'll find on the lot are off the charts good. $14,000 off a GMC Sierra 1500 with the SLT trim level and the X31 off-road package. You can also get a Buick Encore GX for $5,000 off the sticker. It's a really nice, sporty, economical SUV. You get it for under $25,000. Nobody else can offer deals like that. That's why you should take the short drive to Coleman. That's why 75% of their business repeat customers. And that's why GMC continues to give them the Dealer of the Year award year after year. That's not just statewide. That's nationwide. That's a national championship that Bill Smith Buick has on their mantle. 8 times overall and 5 years in a row. So take the short drive to Coleman. We're glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at Bill Smith Buick, GMC.com.
Need you to buy me like 20 more seconds.
All right. Danica Patrick, A-list, not A-list?
Not A-list.
Okay, we're good.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
I don't
She's still doing
I don't-
commercials.
I don't really care about the, should they claim it? The whole, I don't. What has your mindset always been on 2004? I bet it's very similar to mine. And now I want you all to answer this as it pertained to Auburn got left out, but what?
USC won the national championship in 2004.
Okay, but that's not, but USC what? Would have what?
Would have beaten
Ran 'em
Auburn
out
because
the
if
stadium.
I'm not mistaken, the year before SC with a younger team went to Auburn and absolutely mollywopped them. SC would have absolutely smoked Auburn in 2004.
I don't
And the
know if
best
the
thing for
mollywop-
Auburn was to be left out of the BCS national championship. That's the way I see it.
I think that's most people's mindset that are not Auburn fans.
Well, imagine that.
Yeah, the previous game was 23-0, but I don't think it was. I think it was a little bit of a sloppy game from Auburn's perspective.
Yeah.
I have to go. I don't really.
I wonder
remember
why.
that. Okay, I have also been under that mindset, and I
Yes.
think a lot of the reasons and a lot of the things that people have pointed to over time have been that was a down SEC, and Auburn doesn't deserve as much credit for what they did inside that schedule because the SEC. And I will say it was a little bit down. Tennessee and Georgia 10-3, 10-2. The next best team in the East would have been Florida at 7-5, South Carolina 6-5, Kentucky and Vandy both 2-9.
Well, just to put things in perspective, Florida fired their coach that year.
Okay, just let me get through it because I'm just telling you, I will open your eyes in similar fashion that I opened my own eyes yesterday
Okay.
on this entire thing.
Sounds good.
And I get it. I know the pros. I know the guys they had.
You going bowl records?
No,
Okay, just making sure.
Auburn 13-0. LSU finished 9-3.
Yes.
And then there were
And
no other
Les
teams.
Miles.
There were no other teams above 500 in the West.
Okay.
Bama was 6-6, Arkansas 5-6, Ole Miss was 4-7, Mississippi State was 3-8.
Correct.
Your non-con was ULM at 5-6, Louisiana Tech at 6-6.
Mhm.
So there's not like a ton of extra that comes along with what you did in the non-conference.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the harder part about Auburn is you had 2 wins over one 10-win team, and that was Tennessee at 10-3.
Okay.
Manhandled them in the SEC championship game, where everybody would tell you, "Oh, can't beat a team twice." USC, they beat Virginia Tech, who finished 10-3 in the opener. They beat Cal, who was 10-2, and Arizona State 9-3. Outside of the last game, the bowl game, which
Okay.
Oklahoma was 12-1. Your overall opponent records: USC was 72-70, Auburn was 80-61.
Okay.
Ranked teams defeated: Auburn beat number 5 LSU, number 10 and number 15 Tennessee, number 9 Virginia Tech. USC beat number 7 Cal, number 15 Arizona State, and then number 2 Oklahoma.
Awesome.
Colorado
How
State
badly
was
did they beat
4-7.
Oklahoma?
BYU was 5-6. Stanford was 4-7. Washington was 1-10. Washington State was 5-6. Oregon State
the
was
Washington
7-5.
dragging everybody
Arizona
down.
was 3-8. Notre Dame was 6-6.
Okay.
UCLA was 6-6.
Yes. What was the score against Oklahoma?
If we're going off one game, then I guess we're just going to judge them off one game.
Correct.
Well, based on our conversation during the break, we have to finish this conversation at some point in time today. 'Cause I didn't know games were determined on what happened when you played them the previous year.
Well, when you get blanked,
allegedly they are.
When you get blanked and embarrassed at home, it's hard.
2 years in a row, not just the year before. 2 years in a row.
Yeah, because that's what decides games, is what happened the year before.
Look at Nebraska.
Well, at least the year before, they were somewhat competitive.
We better hope Georgia doesn't see Notre Dame in the playoffs this year, because they cannot win that game. That's what I was told during the break.
Well,
if you lose to a team the year before, you can't beat them the next year.
At least Georgia was competitive.
I was told that in the commercial break. That you
Yeah,
cannot
getting
do
blanked
that.
23-0 with the same team, basically.
Same team.
Jason Campbell, Ronnie
You literally
Brown,
played
Carnell
for
Williams.
a coach that would not allow any portion of that mindset ever. The
Okay.
teams were totally different, and they were never the same.
Yep, totally
But
different.
the argument is now that was the exact same team.
When you're claiming mythical national championships, it is. There has to
we're
be
not
some
having a
conclusions
conversation about
drawn.
claiming
When you're
anything.
claiming mythical national championships, we have to draw some unique, obscure conclusions. The conclusion that I come to is that the team that SC fielded in 2003 was comparable to the team that they fielded in 2004. Auburn, the team that they fielded in 2004, slightly better than the team that they fielded in 2003. Personnel-wise, kind of comparable, but improved overall. End of the day, in Jordan-Hare, the place where no one can win, SC goes in, blanks them 23-0, absolutely runs them out of the gym, and they would have run them out of the gym in 2004 in the bowl game as well. So I think it's probably in Auburn's best interest that they did not play in the BCS title game that year, because they probably would have gotten steamrolled.
How did USC beat Cal in 2004 when Cal beat them in 2003? How did that take place?
They
I didn't
won the
know
game.
I didn't know how it happened.
But they won the game.
Yeah, but it was the same teams.
It's not the same teams as far as across the board.
No, hold on. You just said
Cal, by the way,
you
was
just said
number
that
3 ranked
03
team.
Auburn was the same team as 04 Auburn. You said it was the same team.
Look at the starters.
But same
Go to the starting lineup 04 and Auburn.
03 Cal, 04 Cal.
Go through the starting
Cal
lineup 04
103
Auburn.
lost 04. How does that
Ronnie
happen?
Brown. Oh, Cadillac. Oh, Jason Campbell. Oh, Devin Aromashadu. Oh, Ben Obamadu. Oh,
Look, we got to get to
keep
Roddy.
going.
We'll see. We're going to come back to this because my only portion, I wanted to talk nothing about claiming national championships. It's just that everybody thinks that 04 USC would have beaten Auburn by 60.
no one said
The
that.
exact same thing that we said for a month going into the Texas game, that Texas shouldn't be there and they couldn't keep up and they wouldn't get a yard. And what happened in that game?
If Jason Campbell
And
would have evolved,
you go back and look what
If Jason
04
Campbell would've
USC did.
replace
during
Jason
the
Campbell
season,
with Vince Young, we'll have a different conversation.
It is no one's going to the 04 regular season and saying USC is the greatest team of all time. No one's doing that. Nobody is pointing at 4-7 Stanford or 1-10 Washington or 5-6 Washington State or 3-8 Arizona or 6-6 Notre Dame saying, by God, they proved during the regular season that's the toughest schedule anybody's ever walked through.
No one said it was a tough schedule.
But the people would say it's the greatest team that ever lived. But that's not the reason right there.
What about eye test?
It's a one-off with a one-month game that Oklahoma didn't show up for. So, Roddy Nabulsi joining us down the Higginbotham hotline. Roddy, would you like to join in on that conversation?
No, I'm kind of terrified for the Georgia Bulldogs facing Ole Miss and Alabama again, knowing what happened last year. So
They can't win those games.
They cannot win. They're gonna be down 28-0 Alabama right off the bat. This is gonna be tough.
Might as well start the game that way.
Same teams.
Yep.
Where are we with our quarterback situation in Athens right now, Roddy?
Yeah, somebody asked Kirby if he's going to go ahead and name Gunnar Stockton the quarterback, and I thought his response was kind of funny. He's like, "Why? So you guys can write that?" And I'm like, "Well, kind of, yeah, Kirby. That's why we ask you questions." But he basically won't. He will never give anything. He'll never name a starter ever again, simply because he just doesn't want to go on the record about it. I mean, this is a guy who went on record a few years ago saying that Carson Beck was his number 2, and then he wound up starting Stetson Bennett and winning a couple titles. And not that it ever came back to bite him in the butt or anything. It's just that he doesn't like to make definitive statements. And so, but Gunnar Stockton is his quarterback. Gunnar looks pretty good. He does give you some options that Carson Beck did not. But anybody that's saying Georgia's better off without Carson Beck, well, they're idiots, because Carson's a very good quarterback. But Georgia's in good hands with Gunnar. This is a kid who has been playing kind of for Mike Bobo, if you will, or planning to play for Mike since he was about 8 years old. They've known the family forever. He's a baller. I mean, he's tough as nails. You saw him take that hit in the Texas game where he almost gets knocked out, but he hangs onto the ball and basically hangs on to Jordan's chances to win the SEC title, even though he's pretty much unconscious. And it's his time to lead the team. That they rally around him. They love him. They're going to fight for this kid, kind of like they did for Stetson Bennett. And we'll see how he fares against Tennessee in Week 3. I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing against Marshall or Austin Peay, but I think when we will get the true measure of Gunnar Stockton on the road in Knoxville.
What do you think about his supporting cast? How are we feeling about the improvements at wide receiver? How are we feeling about the depth at running back? All questions that we have kind of going into the season.
Remember, they lost 2 wide receivers to the NFL, which is not something you normally hear about Georgia, or at least the narrative is Georgia doesn't have a lot of guys drafted into the league, although they do. It's just you kind of think about other positions. But so, the wide receiver room took a hit, but they also led the nation last year in dropped passes. So it was very frustrating. People that come after Mike Bobo or Georgia's offense, they tend to discount the fact that they dropped almost 40 passes last year. But they were able to say, okay, we lost Aaron Smith, we lost Dominic Lovett, but let's bring in Zachariah Branch, maybe the number 1 receiver in the transfer portal. Let's bring in Noah Thomas, Texas A&M's top wide receiver last year. Let's sign C.J. Wiley and Talon Taylor, 2 very talented freshmen. And don't forget, you already have London Humphreys, who was already there. Dylan Bell, who ended last week's scrimmage, took a 60-yard reverse to the house, or at least down the field. Much improved wide receiver core. On paper, they're much improved. They look fantastic. They've added to that room. I'm hearing great things about them. I would just be happy if they catch the ball. Don't have 39 drop passes. That would be big. Nate Frazier is going to be all SEC before it's said and done. He's a great running back. They got Rod Robinson behind him. They brought in Josh McCray, who is a big back as well, led his team in rushing. So, and they got good tight ends. The real question, though, for Georgia is, can they run the ball? I mean, if you want to make Gunnar Stockton's life easier, give him a running game. They did not have that last year. They were 102nd in rushing. Now, granted, that's on paper. Georgia counts a lot of those little screens and dump-offs as runs and not passes. But, the rest of the world sees those as passes. And, Georgia was 102nd in the nation in running the ball. That's not going to help Gunnar Stockton. But, if his surrounding cast if he can just hand it off to Nate Frazier off, left tackle, that would make his life a lot easier, and Georgia would be able to extend some drives.
Ronnie, I want to go back to something, and Ronnie Nabulsi is talking Georgia Bulldogs with us on the Higginbotham Hotline, that you brought up, and that were the drops. You said somewhat sarcastic, like, hey, I just hope they catch the ball. They led the nation in drops last year, but Greg and I both, other people, maybe we're falling victim to just a lot of these guys coming back that have been good at times. What has been done to address that specific problem? For me personally, number 1 would be play London Humphreys more, because I haven't seen him drop a ton of balls. And one guy that people are excited about, Zachariah Branch, you bring in, he's not necessarily the best catcher of the football. So
he is not.
How has this been addressed with this football team this offseason?
Colby Young is back. This was the guy they expected last year to be one of their leaders, but he had some legal issues. That guy can catch. You got Noah Thomas. You bring him in. Dylan Bell. If you remember, Ladd McConkey went through the yips for a while there. I think it was his sophomore year.
Yep, I remember that.
There was wild.
Wasn't he hurt?
Yeah,
I feel like he was hurt his whole sophomore year.
He was hurt his last year. That's why Georgia didn't beat
too.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying I don't think it was hurt. I just think it just got to his head. And last year it got in the heads of everybody. I mean, Dom Lovett was as sure-handed as he's ever been. Dylan Bell never drops passes, but now they did. But I'll say this. We know they were working on the jugs machine. James Coley has got a ton of guys in the NFL. That's why Noah Thomas left Texas A&M to come to Georgia, was because Coley recruited him and he believes in him. But when I asked about this last scrimmage Georgia had, I said, what stood out? And this is to one of the former lettermen. And he said, look, Roddy, they had so many contested catches that they brought in. There weren't any circus catches that I remember. There weren't any crazy things like that. But they caught balls in traffic. They caught balls going up together with these DBs and safeties and guys dropping into coverage, and they ripped those balls away. And I'm like, okay, well, now you're starting to give the Georgia fans hope if you say, look, they can catch contested passes. Because even that, the dropped balls were bad and the contested catches were bad. And it's just, I know they worked on the jug machines extra, and, they worked on theory, and they worked on, the little things that all the coach cliches that I'll tell you about. But to me, if you start catching passes, that are contested, that bodes well for Gunnar Stockton.
What about just the offensive line's consistency. I feel the receivers can't get worse. God's honest truth. I think they're going to be better. I do. I hate saying that, but I think they're going to be a lot better. I think the running back depth should be fine. I do still have some concerns about the offensive line. And while nobody wants to talk about that, and I know they're plugging and playing with 5-star guys and 4-star guys, high-level prospects, that was arguably, beyond the receivers, their biggest problem last year, is they just weren't good up front. That's why they lost the Ole Miss game. That's why they struggled against Kentucky offensively. That's why they had some challenges. So can their offensive line be an elite unit again? Because that's kind of what we've come to expect from Georgia over the years.
Well, what would you expect if I told you that they had 4 of those offensive linemen drafted?
When we think about like Georgia offensive and defensive linemen getting drafted in the 6th round isn't the expectation level. You know what I mean? Like the expectation level for Georgia is to have top flight guys, top 100 players at their position. Yeah. And the offensive line, while they did have a bunch of guys drafted, few of those guys were not necessarily up to par. Plus, they were banged up most of the year, like Tate Ratledge.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I mean, Tate was a 2nd-round pick. You know, you had Dylan Fairchild goes. You get a lot of these guys get drafted. So you're thinking, if I tell you any other team in the nation had 4 NFL, 4 guys drafted to the NFL off the offensive line, you think, well, they should have been able to do whatever they want. That should have been a national championship team. They should have been able to run it down everybody's throat, but they couldn't. And you're like, okay, well, now if you've got to replace 4 drafted guys, what do you have? You're going to have a bunch of inexperienced guys coming in. And they kind of do. But, Monroe Freeling, the left tackle, he had some starts last year. And if you walk by practice, you'll hear Kirby Smart just chewing him out. But Kirby chews out everybody, so you can't use that as a gauge. Ernest Green was the starting left tackle, but, he got hurt. Now he's over the right side. Drew Bobo got a couple starts last year. So you have a bunch of guys who are replacing those talented players with decent experience. Now, they haven't been, not all of them have been year-long starters. Micah Morris has been in the program longer than just about anybody else. He's one of the strongest guys in the league, definitely one of the strongest guys on the team. He's playing left guard. And then you have kind of a log jam at the right guard spot where, Daniel Calhoun's working at it. Michael Uni's there. And then this new kid, I want y'all to remember the name, Juan Gaston. He's 6'7", 335 pounds. He's dropped about 25, 30 pounds since he's got to Georgia, but he's getting snaps with the first team. So that might be your guy, that your can't-miss guy that you're expecting to see, in the Jamari Sawyer, Andrew Thomas, Broderick Jones, top pick. So there is the possibility that they get back to that consistency, that domination. And Georgia was terrible on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, short yardage plays. They just could not get it done last year with those banged up offensive linemen that they had. But now, if you can get Roderick Robinson, the big back, Josh McCray, a big back, and you get this little push from those guys. And also, they got a very talented group of tight ends who are pretty good blockers. You don't have Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, but Lawson Lucky can block. And Elias Williams, think about this kid, 6'7", putting on some weight. He's a true freshman. He is going to be a powerhouse as well. In other words, Georgia has a good group of linemen, offensive and defensively, coming in who are true freshmen who are going to get some playing time. And that kind of tells you that there's playing time to be had, because not all those spots are locked down.
Where's Ernest Green, and are you in line with me that it's most likely going to be a lot better for him this year, closer to what it was 2 years ago?
I think definitely. I mean, he knows it's his contract year. This is a guy who has to – there's questions after last year. And, yeah, he was injured, but he was not – I mean, you think a guy coming back for his 2nd year at left tackle, he's going to dominate. He did not. And injury is part of that. Now he's on the right side, and he knows that this is the year that he makes his money. So he's going to come in, and I think between him and if you have Gaston on the right side, or Uni, or if Michael Morris moves over there, or Daniel Calhoun, they are going to – Georgia will be able to hand off right and just run behind Big Ernie. So I definitely think this is his year.
Roddy, we appreciate it. Always good catching up. Always great insight on this Georgia program. Back to those 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2s. I would think Gunnar Stockton can solve a lot of that problem this year as well. I mean, if you keep him healthy, he can be a little bit more of your short yardage back also.
I agree 1,000%. Remember, no one ever feared that Carson was going to keep it. Just the threats, just the threat. That backside guy having to be play a little honest.
There you go.
Very excited about what Gunnar could do with his legs.
Roddy, appreciate the time. Great catching up with you. We'll do it again
Thanks,
soon.
guys.
Here's Roddy Nabulsi joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline Wednesday, August 20th, 8-15 right here on Jox. We'll continue the college football conversation, take you around the SEC. You'll hear from some SEC coaches, SEC players the rest of this hour. Phone lines will be open, 800-239-9569. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. Tweets are coming in. Accusations being pointing at me there. We'll get to those. At Mac and Cube, you can tweet into the show if you need to. Don't forget about the Gusty Gouls Group if you're looking for a new home. Serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. So they're going to know what real estate is available, coming available, and what they can get from your house. You can go to GustyGoulsGroup.com right now, button at the top right of the page, smash that button, and right then, with very little information, you're going to find out what they think your home is worth, what they can get for it. Over 855-star Google reviews. Just Google Gusty Gouls Group. You can see for yourself what people are saying. There are going to be good things there. 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulsGroup.com today and start packing. More on our conversation on the 2004 college football season prior to Roddy Nabulsi when we come back next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back here. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 800-239-9569. You want to get in on the Higginbotham hotline, we'll spend some time there. Because if the calls are like the tweets, should be a fun day for me. True Serum 74 tweeting into the show, at CB200820014 is the handle.
Heck yeah.
At Mac and Cube. Cole, please stop. I like you. Thank you for liking me.
Heck yeah.
But you are proving exactly what people, parentheses, outside of Auburn, seriously hate Auburn. Why do you wake up one day out of nowhere, claim you won a national title when nobody else says you do, or you didn't win it on the field? Amazing. I'm going to carefully go back to the beginning of how I prefaced our previous conversation, in that the goal of having it was that my opinion always has been that 2004 UFC would have run Auburn out of the building. And by further documentation, research, study, looking at things, I kind of don't feel like now that necessarily would have been the case. Don't know who would have won the game. Not saying Auburn would have definitely won the game. But I'm saying that this USC team is put on a extremely high pedestal. Would you agree with that all the time?
I mean, yeah.
They're in the short conversation of greatest teams in college football history. Yes or no?
I don't know if I'd go that far,
okay,
but
you
yeah,
may not.
Really
but there are a lot of people that do. Yes or no? John, true or false that most people who pay attention to college football, if you ask them, give me the 10 best teams ever, that team's going to be one of them?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And I don't think a lot of those people who are banging that drum have taken a very close look at everything that team did that season. That's all I'm saying. That's it. I'm telling you, my opinion has changed a little bit, that team was as dominant as maybe we thought they were. AC's dad tweets in, fellas, there was a championship game determined by agreed upon format, video evidence of it being played in 04. I'm not debating who the national championship should be. And by the way, I think claiming the national championship in 04 from an Auburn perspective is dumb. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to debate that. I don't think that should be happening. If you want to take the Golf Illustrated national title or whoever it was that gave it to him, Locha Poker Times, great. Put it on the billboard. Don't give a damn. I don't believe in claimed anything. You either did it or you didn't. That's it. You did it or you didn't. That's all. There are no should-haves in football. There's no luck in football. I've said that as long as I've been on the air, in any city, anytime. So that's not where I went. All that I wanted to do is take a look at what the two teams did, as it was brought up to me yesterday. And it was actually John Pizzatola, who's been on the show with us before, who was a punter at Alabama, was like, I don't think that game would have been what it was. And it kind of forced me to go back and start looking at it. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize BYU was sub 500 football team. I didn't realize Notre Dame was 6-6 that year. I didn't realize Cal was the best team they beat. But maybe I should have gone back and looked at the previous year and said Cal was the best team.
You also need to know that Cal was led by a guy named Aaron Rodgers and also they were like a top 10 team. It's not like
number 7 when USC beat them. Yeah,
it's not the current version of Cal.
No, it was a really good win.
Good win.
Zero doubt about that. But Arizona was 3-8. UCLA was 6-6. Washington was 1-10. Stanford was 4-7. Washington State was 5-6. Oregon State was 7-5. It wasn't a litany of world beaters that USC just ran through that year. That was the only thing that I wanted to bring up, is that my opinion may be a little bit different now that game would have been 56-0. That's all. That's it.
I don't think anyone
and the other reason I wanted to do that, Greg, is there are a lot of people outside of the southeastern portion of the United States that all they do is point to the SEC standings that year and say that's why Auburn wouldn't have stood a chance. And I think when you comparatively look at the two, if that's going to be your stance on 04 USC, and I'm not saying it's yours because that's not, yours is based on 2003, actually.
Correct.
If you do that, and that's why USC was so good, and you do that compared to what Auburn did, well, USC's not as good from the numbers perspective of the standings and the teams that they beat in their records. That's it. 72-70, 80, and 61. That's it. So, like, where are the multiple extra 10-win teams that USC beat that year? There's not. And so my opinion shifted just slightly on that. Do I think Auburn was the national champions in 04? No. Do I think it should be on the stadium? No. So you can stop tweeting that at me that I've tried to say that today. I've never said it. I've never gone down that path. I've never said that I think it should be or I want it to be or it needs to be. I don't believe that. You did it or you didn't. That's it. But by looking further into what the two teams actually did that year, it may not have been as bad as it seemed. And by the way, the Big 12 wasn't very good that year either. So who knows who really was what. But what we do know is USC was dominant in the national championship game, and they deserve to be the national champions, even though that game's vacated, which is another thing we don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, if you want to take the vacated win, that's fine.
I don't believe in those either. Really.
Next man up.
Don't really care about teams' wins that are vacated.
I've never understood the whole claiming national championship thing. And those that say like, well, Alabama claims 41. I don't care. Like, I really don't care. I don't sit there and bang the drum about 18 national championships. Like, I focus on, over the course of time, excellence at the top of college football. And in my lifetime, I've seen Alabama win 7 national championships. What happened prior to, I can't speak to. I didn't see 78, 79. I can't speak to 73. I can't speak to the ones that maybe they should have won in the 60s that they didn't win, or the 1941 or the 1925. I can't speak to those. I didn't see those games. I personally,
I'll see how much I care about this, Greg, and I mean this in all sincerity.
yes.
What other titles did Auburn claim yesterday?
03. Not 2003.
04.
Oh, no, not 2000.
This is honestly how much I care. I didn't go look.
1903. I'm not talking about 2003.
Oh, hell yeah. 03? You're debating that?
Yeah. I mean, Fat Boy Slim was their,
He wasn't mixing.
he was their
tunes
running
then.
back.
He was not mixing back then.
No, it was different. Fat Boy Slim. It was Fat Boy Slim, the singers. Fat Boy Slim's great granddad.
Double Duty Wilson.
Wait a second.
Double Duty
Hold on.
Wilson.
1903, they were 4-3.
Squat, or 1904.
National champions at 4-3.
They lost to Alabama at Riverside Park.
That's where you
But
decided to change
they
direction.
beat Swanee 47-0 at Riverside Park, and we know that Swanee then was untouchable.
Heck yeah. I frankly, Auburn could claim, if it stokes joy in Auburn family's heart, by all means, don't care. I really don't care.
What do you think Auburn's home field was in 1903?
Riverside, strong side.
The drill field.
Riverside, strong side. The drill field?
Literally, the Wikipedia says home field, drill field.
Were they even Auburn at that point, or were they API?
No wonder they won back then. Here are the years that they now have national championships in: 1910, 1913.
Okay, well, 1913 can't be debated.
Anything that happens.
Actually, with this
that one's
topic,
not-
I actually shouldn't be sarcastic on this because there are people who can't handle it. They can't take it.
That one's
anything
not
that
new.
happens pre-Titanic, I have a hard time with.
A new one is
That's
1914.
your AD and Titanic.
No, BCS era is usually
Wait,
my
so
80.
Titanic is like your
Yes.
2008
Should
for Damien
anything
in football?
pre-1912, I have a hard time with.
Got it. Where's Damien's cutoff of it
Hadn't
really
seen the
happened in
tape.
football? 2015? Like anything pre-15?
Yeah,
he
14
doesn't even
playoff.
recognize?
14
No, because
playoff.
Mariota won before that. So
No, it was
maybe
14
13.
playoffs, so 14.
2014 is when football started
Correct.
for Damien? Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, noted. Jay in Silicaga wants to chime in. Welcome in, Jay.
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. I just wanted to say this. Everybody's talking about the USC offense and Auburn's offense, but if you look back, Auburn's defense, I think, was ranked number 1 in several statistical categories. And I wanted to bring this up, too. Auburn had a brand-new coordinator that year, Bobby Petrino, who turned that offense around. We had seen USC's offense. USC hadn't seen ours. Plus,
Tell
that
him.
would have been
Oh,
third
God.
team. Auburn can't win one game out of 3.
Why? How many times have we talked about this? About like team rankings and stuff like that. You have the number 1 ranked defense. That's great. I don't even know if they were number 1. I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to give the internet the click to look up what the defensive rankings were. But how much did that have to do with the current era of SEC football? And that's not taking anything away from the SEC football of 2000s. I played in the 2000s. Like, I have a tremendous amount of respect
Brag
for the
about it.
league, greatly appreciate the league. Love the league, grew up in the league. We'll always celebrate the SEC's dominance throughout the 2000s and how many teams won championships. What I will also acknowledge is the SEC, up until, I don't know, about 2014, was not necessarily known for offensive dominance. So a lot of the teams played ball control. A lot of the teams played ground and pound, line of scrimmage.
Auburn was number 1 in team defense that year. Just throwing it out.
How much of that had to do with the offenses that they were playing against? And I think if you look at the offenses in the Big 12, the offenses in the
I think
Pac-12.
Colton Browning at ULM was a pretty good quarterback that year.
Okay, awesome. Love that.
Who was at LSU in 04? Rohan Davey?
Maybe early
Matty
Jamarcus. Early Jamarcus, Matty Mock. They had the other guy too, like number 12. I remember.
Casey Clausen was Tennessee's quarterback that year. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
probably.
can't remember.
That
I don't
feels
remember the
right.
tape.
Maybe it was Rick Clausen. I don't know. Like the offense.
Who were all the brothers that played quarterback at La Tech for like 7 straight years? Did they have one of those there?
Rams?
Yeah, it was the Rattays. Yeah.
Which Rattay was playing for La Tech that year?
Name that Rattay. I think a lot of it has to do with the offenses that you were playing.
That would actually be fun to go through these SEC teams and like guess the quarterbacks.
Remember the debate that we used to have with Oklahoma, and they're like, well, if Georgia played in the Big 12, they wouldn't have the number 1 defense. That's what Lincoln Riley said after they played, or leading up to the time in which they played against Georgia in the Rose Bowl, which is 100% true. Those teams in different leagues spread it out, made it much more difficult to defend. Therefore, the numbers were a little bit inflated in some leagues, whereas in the SEC, where it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust in the early 2000s, your numbers are probably going to be a little better than they probably are.
Yeah, and the other side of that argument would have been, well, would have Georgia had spent as much recruiting prowess on the line of scrimmage, and would they have recruited more DBs and safeties, corners, and nickels, whatever? And it's hard.
That's why when we played Texas in the national championship in 2009, we ran it down their throat. I didn't think we'd throw it more than 15 times in that game because guess what? They were built to defend the pass. They had Earl Thomas,
but could
Aaron
you defend
Williams.
them, though?
What's that?
Could you defend them in that game? Because, they spread it out.
But they scored 21, which is, by the way, a lot.
How many in the fourth quarter?
Doesn't matter. They still scored more points than we were accustomed to giving up because they spread it out. They had athletes. They were built to throw it downfield. They were built to create points. And we were built to run it down their throat, which is why we ran for 250 and I threw it 11 times. We never anticipated challenging Earl Thomas and their pass rushers, Sergio Kendall and others. Like, there was no point in doing that because we were playing right into their strength at that point. SC would have walked the dog on Auburn in 2004. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, I don't expect you to, Cole. I am
admitting that for the last however many years, I was under that exact same impression. And then doing further research yesterday, I just remember this. I'll just say this about the 04 Auburn team. And again, I am not saying that Auburn should claim anything. I actually wasn't really happy with yesterday. So y'all do whatever y'all need to with that. I remember going into that Georgia game in 04 and everybody talking about how talented Georgia was. And this was going to be where Auburn was exposed and Auburn wasn't going to hang on the field of that team. And I think it was a fairly convincing win. Like, just when you watched it from a actual football perspective, I don't really care what the score was. It was like, that was a better football team. And I don't think Georgia played terrible that day. And you're like, that's the best team in the nation because of the different ways that they won, how they could win, how they operated as a team. As talented? Maybe not. I don't really know. I will say this. Even going back and looking at the 04 USC roster, it's not the group of world beaters that you think it was. Reggie Bush, Landell White, great. Really good. I've even said Dwayne Jarrett, awesome college wide receiver.
Are you taking Cadillac or Reggie?
Reggie.
Are you taking?
Was it close? Who are you taking, Landell White or Ronnie?
That's actually not close.
I'd probably say Ronnie.
It's not close.
Okay, Landell White or Cadillac?
That's actually not close either.
Okay. Better nickname. Fine, I'll give you that.
I will say I'll probably take Steve Smith and Dwayne Jarrett over any of the Auburn receivers.
Come on, Manu?
Very good college player, but I'm going to take Smith. Jarrett absolutely in college.
Smith was good, dude.
He manhandled people in college, but I don't think Winston Justice was starting on that offensive line. Like Ryan Khalil,
yeah, Hall of Famer. It's fine. You can have King Dunlap. We'll take Ryan Khalil.
Like your linebackers were Keith Rivers, Dallas Stars.
Yeah, pretty good player, Keith Rivers.
But I'm just like, where are these guys that nobody could even physically match up with?
I don't know who's Auburn's linebackers.
Cedric Ellis on the D line, pretty good. Sean Cody, Frosty Rucker, but
yeah, pretty good. Yeah, not bad.
I'm not saying they weren't good, Greg.
Now, tell me Auburn's treat them like it's linebackers. A literal.
Tell me Travis
Auburn.
Williams was one. I know.
Was Carlos Dansby there?
This might have been Dansby might have left in 03.
Okay, so was Williams was he like an All-Pro? What did he do?
No, Travis is a great defensive coordinator now. He was undersized. He wasn't going to play in the NFL.
Okay, so now
dude wasn't a good football player.
Let's go tail the tape. All right, you take pull up Auburn's starting lineup. I'll pull up SC's starting lineup. We'll go tail the tape. Ready?
I'm trying to find the depth chart, which I cannot locate at the moment.
It's because we don't release it.
I got a bunch of oars on here.
Times were different in 04, man.
You're not giving them that. All right, pull up the stats then. Can you pull up the stats and we can draw some conclusions there?
I think I can get to that.
All right.
All right, I got it. Jason Campbell at quarterback. We know Matt Leinart at quarterback.
All right,
Most
who you
people are
taking?
gonna lean Leinart
Who you
there.
taking? Quarterback advantage. Let's actually take
Fullback.
one.
I'm taking Jake Slaughter.
All right, you can. All right, so let's. All right, we got starting quarterback Leinart, Campbell. Who you got?
Leinart.
Is it close?
No.
Thank you. Backup quarterback Cox, Matt Castle. Okay. All right.
Well, Matt
Sounds
Castle
good.
didn't play.
Hang on. Next.
Yeah.
Next up.
In college, I think Brandon Cox had like 700 more attempts.
Right.
I'll still take Castle.
What?
Reggie Bush, Ronnie Brown.
Reggie Bush.
All right. Lendale White, Cadillac.
Cornell.
All right. So sounds good. We got 3-1 right now. And I think that's even up for debate because I think Lendale White was pretty dang good at what they asked him to do. He averaged 5.5 a carry and had 1,000 touchdowns in his career. Let's go to wide receiver. Steve Smith, Obamanu.
Steve Smith.
Okay.
I'll take Courtney Taylor over Steve Smith in college.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Courtney Taylor, Dwayne
Just
Jarrett.
had to go over the middle. And did
Courtney
not
Taylor,
care.
Dwayne Jarrett.
Probably Dwayne Jarrett.
Okay. Steve Smith, Obamanu.
What about a Romish to do?
Okay. Steve Smith or Romish.
Okay. I'll probably take Steve Smith.
All right. Sounds good. 2 up there. All right. Next up, Chris McFoy. I don't remember him at all.
You had Romish to do, Obamanu, Courtney Taylor. You had Anthony Mix, kind of a hybrid, like in between tight end, wide receiver that did some different things for him in that offense. Was going to work for you some. Cooper Wallace at tight end. You're probably taking USC's tight end there.
Yeah. Dominic Bird. Yeah. I'll take him.
I can't get tackles, though, is what I can't get. I'm going to tell you this. There's not a USC corner that I'm taking over Carlos Rogers.
No.
All right. That's fine. You can have
And you can say whoever you want at tackle. I'm not taking a USC tackle over Marcus McNeil.
No.
Well, it's center.
Who was the center on that team? Is it Joe Cope? I'm trying to
have no
recall.
idea.
I
I
can't
have
recall.
no idea.
I don't have the starting lineups. I can't find it for whatever reason.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's just for the record, we'll go look at the NFL players.
We got to go to break. We'll do it on the other side. We got calls coming in. We got people tweeting in. They're all mad at us. Back after this. All right, welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Don't forget about Train. You can be mad at me. You can be mad at Greg. Don't be mad at Train. All they do is keep your house cool. Keep your family comfortable with an affordable cooling system from Train. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years. They're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialty here at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. Don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but we'll go to Johnny in Birmingham. Wants to chime in. Welcome in, Johnny.
Hey, how y'all doing?
What's up, buddy?
Kind of miserable.
Good. Hey, listen. Yeah, well, I understand, man. You know, to me, this whole national championship, all these, I'm going to call them mythical national championships anyway, because it's all based on, forever it was based on what we think voters voting on. I think in 100 years from now, people are going to look back and say, you know, this whole thing is stupid.
I don't think we have to go back 100. I think you can go back to right now. Say anything before 1998 when we had the BCS is a little ridiculous, is it not? I can't believe still that we in our lifetime voted on national champions. It's insane.
It is ridiculous because how many people, to your point, McElroy, which I don't agree with you much on, but how about this? How about back in 1992 when the whole world was telling everybody Miami was going to run Alabama out of the stadium? I mean, you know, it's the whole thing. None of it makes sense. And to have these arguments, that's why I heard a guy say it, put whatever you want in the stadium. You claim 100 national championships. What does it matter? I mean, most of these national championships are based on what people think, and then you put two teams together, and whoever wins that, well, that's the best team. And the whole thing's stupid. So, you know, what do we care? Well, I mean, really, what difference does it make? If Auburn claimed, and I'm an Auburn fan, if Auburn claimed 25 national championships, I mean, Alabama claims 18 or something, and I think, you know, 4 or 5 of those are dumb. But, you know, it's what difference does it make? Claim whatever you want.
Johnny, honestly,
why is anybody
like
upset about it?
a breath of fresh air call that we, I think, all needed today. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I mean that sincerely. Beham Dog wants to chime in. Welcome in, Dog.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hey, I'm loving all the Georgia references this morning, even though it's full of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But and I'm claiming a national championship because if Alabama wouldn't have put Tua in, we'd have probably won that one. So anyway, I'm claiming it.
Like that.
Yeah. So
Hang
hey,
the
quick
banner.
question, guys. I want to switch gears. What's that?
Hang the banner.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, man. Hey, I do want to switch gears a little bit, and we can jump back. But this is something I've always wondered. Everybody that loves sports, that all your listeners, you know, realize that you guys have the best job in the world, just to get on the radio station and just and talk football, talk ball.
You read our Twitter mentions, you might not say that.
Well, I am, but my question is this. You guys are very, very unique. I listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and most of them guys are just talking heads that just enjoy football, kind of like me. You guys dive so deep into the weeds with analytics and stats. I wonder if you guys have ever thought about going into coaching. I think you guys would be fantastic coaches. And I've always wondered, I just want to know if you guys ever had the aspirations of possibly going into coaching at some point. And I'll hang up and listen, and
thank you, Dog.
Go Dogs.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate
Cole's
that.
going to for sure.
After today, I'm going to have to. I think Haney's going to fire me after today. Greg, and I'm going to speak for Greg a little bit, but then he can chime in. We would both love to coach. Neither of us would like to recruit, specifically in today's climate. If someone told us, hey, all you have to do is go out on the practice field and meet with guys, watch film, teach technique, instruct on how the game should be played, help people win football games by looking at tape, devising scheme, breaking people down, and then going on the practice field 4 or 5 days a week and trying to help people get better at what they did individually and as a unit, we would absolutely love it. And we would probably be doing it right now, honestly. But it's the peripheral BS that I don't think either one of us could even pretend like we would enjoy doing right now. I
would love to coach. It'd be it'd be extremely fulfilling for me. I cannot sacrifice my time with my kids.
That's another
I just
big
can't
one.
do it. It's not. I only have so much time with my kids at a young age. It'd be amazing to coach. It'd be awesome, but I could not be married to my job that much.
We already
and
miss a lot
sacrifice
now.
That much time. We do. We
And
miss a lot now,
it would be
but
3
it'd
or 4 times more.
10 times more challenging.
Yeah, it
when
would
my
be
kids
tough.
are grown, I would potentially have an interest. But to be honest with you, my only interest would be at the high school level. I would love to coach high school football.
Dad, now that we're 15, you're not around much anymore. Yeah, we're done. Going to coach.
Done with y'all. When y'all got done with me, I got done with y'all.
Well, Cole, you actually had your foot in coaching for a
I did.
minute.
I was fired from Bumpus Middle School. Yeah.
Outside zone.
Just don't make your group roll after practice. At what? How old are seventh graders? Was that like
13,
12,
12,
13? Don't make them roll a lot after practice.
That is
Golden Domer wants to chime in.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy's right. Oh, boy is right. Top of the morning.
Good morning.
Okay, look. First of all, we got to establish two things.
Most compelling
First thing-
topic in the history of college football, right here.
First thing, I consider myself a college football historian. Okay, I love the past of college football sometimes more than I do the future. And I know y'all got little jokes. Because Notre Dame was actually good back then. Go ahead, that's fine.
No, I didn't say that.
This is what,
How can you love the past more than what you don't know?
Because I love history, Cole.
But
I mean,
you don't know
I love
what the
American
future's going to
history.
be. What if somebody comes in and fixes it and it's better than it's ever been? You can't say that.
I'm just saying I love history. So let's just establish something. First off, the myth and the mythology that back in the day that champions were just thrown around like hotcakes and people were claiming them here and claiming them there, that is absolutely not true. Every single year had a legitimate system. And the universities back then had this little thing called, that Auburn showing they don't have, integrity. They didn't just go around just claiming to claim. If you didn't claim it, this is how simple it is, because I've studied all the history. If you did not claim it that year, newspapers was a big deal back then. That was everything. If you can't get on Google right now and show me an Auburn newspaper that says we are the national champions 1913, you cannot claim it. Just like Alabama will never find a newspaper that says national champions 1941. If you did not claim it within the year that you say you did, it is not a legitimate national championship. Any post-dated national championships are fake. And the reason people do that is they say, oh, well, it was back in the day. Champions were just, people. That's not true at all. Until Alabama added those 5 national championships, nobody had ever gone back and post-claimed championships. All right, that's the first thing we need to establish. The second thing we need to establish is that it doesn't matter. Guys, college football is built on perception and brand. Tradition is everything. Who runs college football? The programs that have tradition. It is the literal lifeline. It's the value of everything. And so for Auburn now to say we've got 9 national championships, that puts them top 3 of all time, top 5 all time. That's a joke.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, just hear me, Cole. Hold me out before you say anything.
I've said clearly on the show multiple times today that I'm against it, not for it, and I think it's dumb. So I'm not backing it. Therefore, there's no debate. There's no argument over that specific discussion. I can't sit here and go to what the Reuters poll or the API or Time Magazine was doing in the 1800s or early 1900s. I don't know exactly how that operated. I wasn't alive then. I don't know what was bogus, what was BS, what happened. We can look at what took place on the field. And I know there are some that people say should have gone one direction, and the team beat the team that won it during the regular season, and then they didn't win it. It's like, what? So you can say that some are bogus and some are real and some are fake, but there hasn't always been a definitive measure of this is this. We spent a long time in this sport of literally having 2. Sometimes they agreed and made the same one the national champion. Sometimes they didn't. And we literally just randomly said these 2 teams, because these 2 different groups of people decided, were our national champions. So that portion of it, and I think Domer would agree with this, is what has always made it great, because it does give us that debate. It makes today a day in which we should be focused on preseason camp and depth charts and who's injured and who's been named a starting quarterback and what openers are going to look like. A pretty fun day of radio, because we're having back and forth about our opinions on what we think, and we debate on what we believe or don't believe. That is what has driven college football forever, in my opinion, because the rivalries mean something to us personally. There are emotions involved. There are emotions that are enacted when those teams play or even are discussed between one another, like today. That's what makes it great. So I can't definitively sit here and say 1908, wrong, bogus. 1812, fix it. I don't know what was right and wrong then. I don't know who was involved with those discussions
Golly,
of winning
18
or not winning.
18-12 was a heck of a year.
Against
war,
who?
dog.
The
Against
war that
who?
year.
There's a war that year.
Yep. Wartime.
1901. I don't know the conditions of those rosters, so I can't sit here and tell you.
Well, you need to learn it.
I don't know who threw the ball more than 4 times in a season.
Through?
At some point,
They
maybe.
threw players back then. They didn't throw balls. They
What
threw
was our guy
players.
telling us in studio that like spiking people was like,
No, you literally threw them
Encouraged?
over the line of scrimmage.
which is awesome, by the way.
Amazing.
It's a different game, man.
Hey, Billy, you ready to go for a ride?
Let's
It's
go.
4th and 1, ain't it?
We got this,
Toss me,
boys.
fellas.
Let me lean in.
Yeehaw! Oh, it goes over the goal line. Imagine if Daniel Moore was alive back then.
Oh, my God.
It'd be so good.
Painting fullbacks getting thrown. There'd be a whole new stat for offensive linemen. Tosses. Successful throws.
Oh, boy. What a time.
Old Ramhead Malone, he averaged 0.5 yards per toss.
That's all he needed.
He was a player we had.
Old grenade Greg over there.
He's tossing overhand. Slingshot me, fellas.
Oh, goodness.
What would the ways be that like you cheated the system when you're throwing your own players? You spring, like let a guy get on your back and you jump and he jumps off you. Back with more after this. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. David Barrow tweets into the show, Grenade Greg destroyed me. That was a great nickname, by the way. Especially if back then you did actually throw the football
100%,
like lob style.
There's nothing more amazing than the visual I have of one of my teammates flying over the line for a first down and expecting me to just hammer throw him over the line. Sounds a bit aggressive.
Chuck tweets into the show, get the pitchforks out for coal today, tar and feathering by the Tumors Oaks. I'm here for it. And y'all say y'all want our jobs.
No, not that they want our job. They could do our job.
Tommy Wyndham tweets in, just don't talk about it. Well, somebody told us it was the most polarizing topic in the offseason.
The topic.
You can also not listen. That's an option. We're going to run the option next right here on I feel like that's more reason to do it. 9 a.m., hour number 3 underway, Wednesday, August 20th. 20 minutes from now, Bill Rabinowitz joins the show to update us on Ohio State's depth chart. Don't know what mythical national titles we could claim for them. Were there close losses out there where we feel like they should have been named?
I don't know.
National champions?
Perhaps.
800-239-9569 if you want to get in. You can also text into the show 205-834-9450. How's the text line look over there, Damien?
It's pretty entertaining. A lot of people are kind of on your boat, Cole. Says Jonathan texted in. He says the only thing worse than Auburn claiming these national champions is the fact that we're still talking about it.
We actually are not talking about that. We have not had a second of conversation about whether or not a title should have or should not have been claimed. It literally has not happened. Go review the tape. You people saying that are worse than Ole Miss fans. You don't know what you heard. And you think you heard something that was not said by an individual. So stop doing it.
Got him.
Listen to the words. Have a judgment on words is fine. An opinion on words is fine. But don't say that things were said or done that were not said or done. That cannot be tolerated. And it will not be tolerated on this show. John would like to chime in on the phones since the text lines have obviously melted. Welcome in, John.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So, hey, I just wanted to respond back to Golden Domer and his integrity comment about my beloved Auburn Tigers. Let's not forget that their Hall of Fame coach, Mr. Holtz, left not one, not two, including theirs, but 3 NCAA Division I programs in shame and NCAA sanctions. And also, let's not forget about the very wealthy female Notre Dame booster who dumped big checks for entertainment with the football players. 9 national titles. War damn Eagle.
Thanks for the call. Who's the female we're referencing there?
No clue.
I have no idea.
Is that like the Notre Dame Ashley Judd? I honestly don't know who it is.
I have no idea.
Who is the most famous female Notre Dame fan? Like celebrity fan? I don't know.
Golic's wife?
Regis Philbin's wife? I don't know.
No clue.
Christine Golick? She's up there. I didn't know there was like a celebrity Notre Dame fan that had those accusations headed her way.
I'm unfamiliar with that game. No clue.
Mark and Charlotte would like to chime in. Welcome in, Mark.
Hey, Cole. Hey, Greg. How are you doing?
Hey, buddy.
We've had better days.
Real quick, the female the last caller was talking about was a tutor who was doing homework assignments for Notre Dame back in the day.
What's the
under
problem
Brian
with that?
Kelly's watch, which is why he lost 14 wins at Notre Dame through the NCAA. But that's not why I called. Not why I called, Cole. Greg. I made a mistake on our show, which aired on ESPN2. And
what show is that, Mark?
All the flack for
what
it.
show are we referencing?
Fine, Mom.
Sure.
No, we're talking about the Always College Football Show.
Got it.
It's on the ESPN YouTube page as well. But I had it a poor mistake.
He has Nebraska in the SEC.
I had Nebraska in the SEC.
Yeah.
Awful announcing picked it up. A couple other, and it just shouldn't be catching the flack for that. I should be. So I was calling to clear the air and to make sure if Greg,
I'm not
you
talking
could
to you
say
right
anything you'd like to me within. I know you're not. That's why I had to put this out there. You know, it's a
Stephen Godfrey had things to say about it.
Do you think Auburn should claim 9 national titles, Mark?
I think Auburn in 1993, also going with the last caller, why didn't they play in a bowl game? Weren't they under NCAA sanctions? But they would have lost to Florida State or Notre Dame. So 2004, I think, is a legitimate. But going back to the early 1900s is a little ridiculous.
No pushback here. I don't know why people are so polarized and triggered by this topic. If you really dive into it, like it really doesn't matter. You can claim whatever you want. It doesn't. I could claim right now that I'm the best cornerback alive. Corner, not quarter. Corner back alive.
Did you think that our opinions would change if you said quarterback?
Either one. I just feel like corner is way less believable. I could claim to be the best power forward in the NBA. It doesn't matter. Like, you can claim whatever you want. It doesn't make it true.
They have power forwards in the NBA anymore, so that actually
Stretch
might work.
4.
That could work.
Positionless offense. It doesn't matter. You can
Maybe
claim whatever you want.
Is there a more narrative-based sport than college football?
No.
Right. So that's where these claims go back, and these championships
WNBA might be up there right
1998.
now.
They were all narrative-based on the national media.
Different
I
times.
do agree with Greg a little bit that,
How many
24,
national
28
championships
playoff,
has
right?
Nebraska claimed is what we need you to answer on the show today.
SEC titles, they've claimed 3.
Too soon.
Wow. They probably could claim it in 95 based on what they did before.
Soon.
So, All right, Mark. I don't know. Is your apology accepted or not, Greg?
No, he's out.
There you go.
Oh,
That's it. Sorry. It's
well,
a good
It
try.
was worth a shot, Cole.
It's a great effort. I appreciate you.
Hang up on him and block
getting
his
there and
number.
giving it a go. Okay.
He's a Notre Dame guy. We have one of those already. One too many.
Well, the people are upset.
About?
Just all of it.
Now somebody texted in and says we need to put the numbers in the Rubik's Cubelic.
Now there we go.
That's how we know.
Well, we have not factored in the Rubik's Cube for tossing yards. Not passing yards, tossing yards, like players being tossed. I don't know how the rocket scientists at Redstone would be able to factor that in. Also, stomping, eye gouging, and stabbing. I don't know how we would factor those in either.
Those weren't penalties.
Those were all
back then.
required back in the day.
Those
And
Encouraged.
lunching. Don't forget about lunching, where you bite players' legs.
By the way, we have a whole new take on that at Louisiana Lafayette. Quarterback named Lunch. If you missed our segment on what year was the Swanee team?
1899.
Lunching was the thing where players were encouraged or maybe even coached to bite other players. Celebrated. So there we go. I don't know if we're even allowed to talk about that anymore. FCC might not allow that. What else are they saying, Damien? How much do they hate the show right now? That's what I need to know.
No, somebody agrees with Greg. Says statute of limitations has been exceeded to come to the schedule comparison when it comes to the conclusion of Auburn 2024. Don't get whooped at home in 2003.
Yeah. Don't get smoked. Don't get run out of the gym at home.
I will say that might be the most surprising part of this entire day is that you are taking a previous year's team and saying that is why we cannot view the next year's team in a different way.
Not only am I taking a previous year's team, I'm acknowledging the fact that SC team remained mostly intact and advanced, actually.
But no other team can advance year to year. Just
I'm not
the
saying
USC
Auburn.
team can advance.
I'm not saying Auburn didn't advance. All I'm saying is that at home they got run out of the gym.
Well, they played on a football field for one.
Put them in the football field. Put them in the dang jungle. I don't care. The result would have been the same.
But it wasn't an orange out.
SC would have lit them up. And the best thing that happened to Auburn that year was not play SC. That was the best thing that happened to them. I
actually think winning the SEC championship was probably the best thing. But.
No, the best thing that happened to them that year was not being in the BCS championship game. It's the best thing that happened to them.
I will say this to close this discussion, hopefully. And this may be the most embarrassing thing that I've ever said on this show. God, do I even say it?
Yep, might as well. You teased it.
You can say it after the break and keep people in their car.
Don't leave us hanging, man.
We're not close to a break. Actually, I could take Hastings and we'd be past time for a break.
Too soon.
Let's go.
A massive advantage for Auburn in this game. God, I'm going to do it. I hate myself. Would have been Cody Bliss.
Who?
Who?
Is that the punter?
I said it.
Is that the punter?
I said it.
Is that the punter? I'm asking the question.
I said what I said.
I don't know who that is.
That's not my fault.
He was the kicker, wasn't he?
No.
He was the punter?
He was.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
What are we doing?
Talking about football?
We've lost him.
I'm done. I am honestly done. Heyday!
That might get you
I'm
fired
putting in
from
my
Haney.
2 weeks.
I deserve it.
So
After all the other things
Haney!
that has happened, you worried about Haney firing you.
Wow.
That might do
Haney,
it.
get my papers ready.
Changing careers.
2 weeks.
So coffin corner Bliss all of a sudden is changing the game.
I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
Dude was legit good.
Cole just gave Auburn an advantage over 2004 SC because they had a better punter.
I'm just saying an advantage in general, like not necessarily there.
What's wrong with it?
Seems
Saying
reasonable.
he was good.
The punter.
This is unbelievable.
The
And that's
punter.
from Houndstooth Haney too.
Right.
No, Haney's Barner.
Oh no, you don't get the name Houndstooth Haney by sucking up to the barn.
The punter.
I mean, I'm sorry.
You should apologize.
Yeah, that's
I'm apologizing.
You need to go
But
to
I'm
church.
also just telling you.
You need to go to church tonight and repent.
so the X factor in that game would have been the punter, Greg.
Yep.
I mean, Hastings was right there, and you went down. You chose to go down this route.
Oh, my pastor went to Birmingham Southern. His sports got canceled. I don't know if he's going to be mad at me for talking about punting.
Wow. Gosh, that's tough.
That hurt.
Just telling you.
That's tough. I hate it for him.
God.
I hate it for him.
Dang, that was a gut punch.
Sometimes you got to punch back. God, he was 51st in punting too.
He's 51st.
Can't even make a statistical argument.
Dang
here.
it.
Hastings, what do you want?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be really quick because hopefully
No,
I'll
you
just
won't.
talk
Don't
your ears
lie.
off on Thursday. Well, I'll talk your ear off on Thursday, corner you guys, and make you take a picture with me so I can get back to my wife who's at the game too. Yeah. Hey. So Dan Campbell, by the way, everyone thought he was ahead of his time talking about biting kneecaps. I think we now know football guy from back in the day.
He's been lunching.
Also, all these, he was the
Lunch pail
the
guy.
one who was dialed into film back in 1913, watching those games. And everybody who's like all upset about how it was done in the past, they need to remember the greatness, like Fielding's Yost and all those Princetons and Yale teams that he coached back in the day. Man, those guys were innovative.
Well said.
Wasn't Colgate dominant?
Yeah, Colgate was dominant, and then Swanee, winning 18 games in 3 days. That's pretty impressive too. My one problem with this thing is, though, guys, and I guess as an Auburn fan, if I was an Auburn fan, I would be really disappointed because, if you're going to claim national championships, you got to do it with the best. Alabama was the best at claiming false national championships, and you couldn't even do that. You got to go in there. If you're going to claim 9, you may as well claim 19. Everyone wants to talk about the 1941 national championship Alabama had. Well, actually, in 1934, Alabama was asked to go to the Rose Bowl because 4 other teams declined it. And hey, guess what? We walked off with the banner there. And so all I'm saying is if you're going to do it and you're going to claim these national championships, I'm not mad at you. But as an Auburn fan,
It's not Bob's Craft's fault everybody passed on Brady.
Yeah,
including
it's the
him.
Same deal.
Multiple times.
5 rounds.
Look, it cost them 6 Super Bowls, just like the 6 national championships that we claim that nobody really recognizes except for us. But guess what? We care about them. So if you're going to do something this late and way after these seasons, at least claim 12 or 13 to where you're up there. Be better than Golden Domer and Notre Dame because nothing would make him more mad and we'd get better calls than Golden Domer getting fired up about 9 national championships and Notre Dame's 17 fake national championships too. So anyways, as for me, I claim about 25 Roll Tide championships, not Bama, but Roll Tide championships. And anytime you beat a number 1 team, you win it. So appreciate it.
Bam.
See you guys on Thursday. Y'all
Thanks, Hastings. Appreciate you. Was 1903 one that Auburn claimed, did we say?
1913.
Oh.
I think it was 04.
Can I give you guys the 1903 AP top 25 real quick?
Absolutely.
Princeton, number 1.
Of course.
Been telling you that.
Yale 2.
Ivy League was the SEC back then.
Number 3, not Michigan, not Minnesota, Michigan and Minnesota.
That's one team?
Number 5, Dartmouth.
Oh, boy.
6, Nebraska. 7, Columbia. 8, Harvard. 9, Carlisle.
Oh, Carlisle.
Just a dude by himself out there, number 9 in the nation, running around. Pennsylvania 10, Army 11, Chicago, the whole city at 12. Holy Cross at 13, Amherst at 14. Lehigh is the team we have not mentioned yet that was dominant in the 1900s. 16, Northwestern, 17, Wisconsin, 18, Cornell, 19, Notre Dame, 20, Georgetown. I'm skipping 21, 22, Iowa State, 23, Haskell.
Haskell?
Haven't
high
seen
school?
Haskell. Haven't seen the tape.
Like Eddie?
Nor have I seen them on a map.
I've never heard of
Eddie Haskell.
Maybe. 24, Iowa. 25, Swarthmore.
Boy.
Today would have been a great day for Harry Potter villain or ranked in the 1903 AP Top 25. Swarthmore. Guess.
Swarthmore. What mascot are they? They're the Tigers.
Sloss.
I might need to find somebody's in the bad box score of the day today. They did lose 34-0 to Princeton. That's why they were number 1. I'm going to go back to number 2. Number 21, excuse me. The number 21 team of the nation. Case.
Case?
Cuse?
Maybe Scott Case. Cold Case.
Creature Case. My kids like that
Case
show.
of cocaine. I don't know. What?
Is that what they come in now? Cases? Basket case?
Case of That's a good one, actually. What else comes in a case? They were 8-1, by the way. They did lose 31-0 to number 3 Michigan.
And they dropped all the way down to 21.
Wait, Michigan or Michigan, Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was tough, man. It was tough to poll back then.
Yep. the Case Institute of Technology. They later merged with Western Reserve and are now known as the ever so popular Case Western Reserve. Apparently an Ohio powerhouse.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, akin to a good MAC team today.
Wow, they disrespect. Okay. Put them in the MAC and see
That's
what
Toledo
happens.
disrespect right there is what it is.
Such disrespect.
That is a slap to Toledo's face.
Man, they don't want it at Kent State.
None.
The coach was Joe Wentworth.
Joe, what was his middle name?
G.
Gregory
Capote?
J.G.
Chalkboard, I think.
Wentworth.
I think Chalkboard was his middle name.
877 cash now.
Joe Chalkboard Wentworth.
That was his nickname?
Or Cornstalk.
Yeah.
Dr. Mel wants to chime in. Good to hear from you, Dr. Mel. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you all this
Great,
morning?
thank you.
All righty. You know, we have just seemed to have been really on a cloud here in the last few days. I heard over the weekend that the Big Ten mentioned the idea of possibly having 28 teams for the college playoff. I have a better idea. Instead of the 28 teams, why don't we follow March Madness, the NCAA? We have 68 teams, and actually it will be the road to the Final 40.
Yes.
The Big Ten teams can participate, and if they lose by less than a field goal, then they can re-enter until the 40 teams complete the final 2 slots for the national championship. And I think we ought to have for the color commentators the commissioner of the Big Ten and the president of the NCAA. So I'm going to hang up and give you all a little thought for the day on that.
There you go. We're with you, Dr. Mel. I did want to go back to number 23, Haskell, from the 1903 AP poll. Haskell's finished 7-2. They lost 16-0 at number 6, Nebraska, lost 17-11 at number 12, Chicago. Their best wins, though, is what we need to be focused on here. 6-0 at 5-1-2 Texas.
Oh.
And 12-6 at 6-3 Kansas. They struggled, however, in an 11-6 win over the 0-4 Kansas City Medics. I couldn't make this up. Directly from the Wikipedia page of 1903 Haskell, they snuck past the Kansas City Medics 11-6. Medics finished 0-4. That's your bad box score of the day. Can you imagine the ambulance just shows up and be like, y'all want to play football today?
Yep.
We're 0-3. You probably don't want to get us out there. No, actually, we need to win.
If you don't give me that,
You guys could line it up right now.
Line them up.
We are going to lunch your ass, and then we're going to launch our guys.
Lunch
over
and launch.
yours.
Lunch and launch.
Lunch and launch,
That's the
boys.
t-shirt back then.
They sliding on that leather here. Let's go, baby.
Y'all didn't want none of number 14 Amherst. Why not? Lunch and launch, baby. Lunch and launch. Hopefully, we can be a little more educated, Greg, when we tell people about our friends at Bromberg's.
Well, they're terrific. They do an amazing job. I've been going to Bromberg's for years. I know you'll have a great experience, like I have for the last 8 years, going in, buying priceless jewelry, just stuff that's going to last the test of time, whether it's gold, silver, platinum, natural diamonds, beautiful, beautiful natural diamonds. They also are renovating the Mountain Brook store to make sure that that experience continues to be an elevated experience. It's amazing. It's only going to get better as you continue to shop with Bromberg's. They have an incredible sales staff, extremely knowledgeable, very, very helpful. I don't know a lot about jewelry, so they really have helped me out over the years. I know they will for you as well. So go see Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. You can also check them out online by going to brombergs.com.
What does the future hold for Julian Sain as the starting quarterback in Columbus for the Buckeyes? We will ask Bill Rabunowitz next, right here on Jox. Welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I did want to go to one more note from 1903, Greg, if you don't mind, before we leave this topic.
I've been begging for you to continue with that.
Fullback Richard Smith we're referencing number 7 Columbia here. They took their only loss 25-0 at number 2 Yale. Offense weak compared to other top 10 teams, so their scoring margins weren't great, but Columbia won the rest of their games. 18-6 over Penn, 12-0 over Amherst, 5-0 over Swarthmore. If we thought that Auburn Mississippi State game was bad. So y'all complain about today's football, and you didn't realize it's been happening for 150 years. Same stuff. And if you think I'm lying, I'm going to tell you exactly why the same stuff is happening. Fullback Richard Smith, the consensus All-American this season, he had played for Oregon in 1896 and 1899. We're talking about 1903. So we're all mad about 7th and 8th year players now when we had them in 1903. And we thought the portal was an issue now. Apparently in 1903, the portal was an issue then too.
Not a thing.
Now, tackle Tom Thorpe. A lot of players get blamed for a lot of things in college football. I think this one may take the cake.
Oh, boy.
Tackle Tom Thorpe was a non-consensus All-American.
Tackle Tom?
They just claiming All-American status now?
Yeah.
You can't just do that.
Tommy
and the
Tackle?
next, non-consensus All-American this year and the next, but he was a poor student. The school expelled him in October of 1905, dooming the team to a poor finish that year. They would drop football after that season. Tom Thorpe cost Columbia an entire football program because he couldn't go to class.
That's unfortunate. That's extremely unfortunate.
Tom Thorpe was the original. He ain't going here to play school.
Love that.
In 1903. Just saying. It all comes full circle. Also for Columbia, quarterback, wait for it, Waldemar Metzenthin.
Waldo Metzenthin?
Also non-consensus All-American 04. Had previous played for Franklin and Marshall in 1897 to 1899.
So
These kids were transferring all over the place. And playing for 6 or 7 years. Now, center Edward Bruce, don't forget about him. He made Walter Camp's 3rd-team All-American then.
OEB.
He was robbed of the 1st and 2nd.
Eddie Bruce?
Walter Camp's been robbing centers for years.
Eddie Bruce?
And I've had about enough of it.
Thank goodness.
Jacob wants to chime in. Welcome in, Jacob.
Yeah, look, you joke about Carlisle being like a one-man team, like pretty much was, right? Because they had Jim Thorpe.
Okay, but I got to ask the question, against who? Because number 9, Carlisle in 1903, they played at Utah. I will give you credit for that. But then they played at the Sherman Institute. And after that, they played I'm reading this directly from Wikipedia, so do not take this as my opinion or anything like that. Quote, an Indian boarding school in California. So I think it's actually a very fair question. Against who for 1903 Carlisle?
Folks were dodging. They were dodging Pop Warner.
Weren't they all? Him and Walter Camp.
That's what I want to see. I want to see 1903 Carlisle without Jim Thorpe versus 2010 Auburn without Cam Newton.
Well, what you didn't want is to see him at number 1 Princeton because they lost 11-0 in that game. They were shut out with Jim Thorpe. So there you go. All right. Thanks for the call. 800-239-9569. 800-239-WJOX. This topic has gone just
way too far.
Beyond the
But
rails.
it's wild, though. Yeah. It's wild.
It's awesome. I love reading this stuff.
Because like
Did you know Nebraska in 1903 was a Missouri Valley champion?
Really? The OMVC.
They were just claiming other championships in other conferences.
We'll take that.
We're better than the Big East. We'll take that one, too.
We got that one, too. We'll take it.
Now, number 6, Nebraska in 1903. They won 16-0 over number 23 Haskell.
That's a big win.
17-6 at Iowa. And they beat Rocky Mountain champions 31-0. Those Rocky Mountain champions? Colorado.
Wow.
I wonder if that was actually a conference.
Rado?
Or if Colorado just said, we're in the Rocky Mountains.
We'll take it.
Nobody else really plays football here. So like we're just claiming this whole this they
whole
literally
thing.
claimed an area.
We get
of
the
college
whole
football
thing.
and named
Rocky
themselves.
Mountains.
Speaking of claimed champions, we're just claiming geographical area of championships. Rocky Mountain champions.
That's wild.
Ain't nobody coming up here and playing us in thin air. All right. We will attempt to finally move on from this topic. When we come back, we'll talk Ohio State with Bill Rabunowitz next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Some fun conversations this hour, but we got to bring it back on to today's college football field. And one announcement that has been fairly large in recent memory was Ohio State naming their starting quarterback. Bill Rabunowitz covers the Ohio State Buckeyes. He joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline to discuss. Bill, a lot of us just figured Julian Sayin was going to be the guy. How close was the actual competition? And was there any real threat to him not being named the starter for the Buckeyes this year?
Well, nice to be on with you guys. I always enjoy it. Only Ryan Day knows for sure, right? I mean, we don't get to watch practice. We only watch the first three. They weren't pads. So we couldn't really, make much of a judgment based on that. He said it was close. Ryan Day, I think what it was I think that Julian Sayin, look, he was the third stringer last year. Lincoln Keatles was the fourth stringer. Julian Sayin's a five-star quarterback. Obviously, he was at Alabama. He was always perceived to be the front runner. But I think Lincoln Keatles played well enough to make it a real competition and push Julian Sayin. And there was really no interest or no reason for Ryan Day to name a starter until around now. This is kind of when he's traditionally done it, about 2 weeks, 12 days before the opener. I'm not surprised. I expected Julian Sand to win the job, but the fact that he kind of dragged it out, Ryan Day kind of dragged it out in terms of not just not naming a starter, but really saying that it was nip and tuck and that it was, there wasn't a front runner. I always thought that Sand was going to get the job, but, there was some doubt about it. But now we know he is.
It's kind of amazing to see how this went down, because I do believe that Lincoln Kienholz did a lot of good things based on what I've heard. And his mobility makes him a little bit more difficult to defend at times. And while not as good a thrower as Sand, that mobility kept him in the race longer than most had anticipated. So how much did his mobility have an impact in this decision and kind of stretching it out as long as they did?
I'm sure it did. And Lincoln Kienholz is a phenomenal athlete. He's the kind of guy where you invent a sport and you say, okay, this is the new sport. Go play it. He would probably win. I mean, he's a great golfer. He's a tremendous baseball player. He's just a great athlete. Now, people then think that, okay, Julian Sand isn't. And that's not the case. He's a one-sport guy, and that's the biggest difference between them. Julian Sand was a football player from birth, basically, and Lincoln Kienholz was a three-sport athlete in high school. But Julian Sand is athletic. He can run. It's not, he's certainly not a Justin Fields or somebody like that, but he can get out of the pocket and he can run for first downs. And so, he's not a statue back there, and he feels the pocket very well. That's I've been told by his high school coach and other people who know him well.
We're visiting with Bill Rabunowitz. He covers the Ohio State Buckeyes. One of the bigger questions, Bill, for this team is going to be in front of Julian Sand. That offensive line took a couple of big hits in this offseason heading to the NFL. Do have some experience coming back, but it was a real strength, not only the first unit, but after a couple of injuries, some of the second teamers there for the Buckeyes last year. How's that group sort of formulating through fall camp?
Yeah, it's actually much less of a question than it was this time last year. Last year, you kind of knew that they didn't have a lot of depth, and if they had some key injuries, they'd be in trouble. And they did. They lost their left tackle. Josh Simmons was a first-round pick. They lost Seth McLaughlin before the Indiana game, and he was playing really well. He was the Remington winner. That forced Donovan Jackson, after the Simmons injury, to move to left tackle. So they had a makeshift line, and even Ryan Day told me that he doubted whether Ohio State could win the national championship with that line. And they somehow found a way to play well in the postseason. And this is a deeper line because of the experience they got last year. I don't think they have anybody quite as good as Donovan Jackson or Josh Simmons, but they've got a lot of depth and a lot of guys they feel very good about. So I think the defensive line is more of a question because they have to replace all four of those guys. But the offensive line is being counted on to be a strength.
What about the defensive line with so many young players? I still think they're going to be super talented. And I think they're going to be super disruptive, but there was a lot of leadership lost off last year's roster. Are we overstating the departures, or is this group very capable of stepping right up?
I don't think you're overstating it. I mean, you don't lose JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Ty Hamilton, and Tyleik Williams and not feel it. I mean, that's just, it'd be foolish to say that wouldn't be the case. But Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, guys like that have played a lot, and they probably expected to be the starters last year until those guys came back for one final season. So they're not, green, they're not inexperienced. They just haven't started. And they've got some talent. There's some questions about the interior of the defensive line, the depth there. They had a big scare when Edric Houston hurt his leg the first day of practice, but he seems to be on his way back. So it should be a good line. Bo Atkinson, who led North Carolina in sacks last year, is going to play for them also as a defensive end. So it's talented. It's just we just haven't seen them play together much.
Bill Rabunowitz joining us here on the Higginbotham Hotline. We're talking Ohio State. There hasn't been a lot of discussion about the specialty positions there for the Buckeyes because I think people look at receiver and just think it's going to be dynamic again. Probably the best player in college football resides there. But tight end has been a very underrated position for Ohio State the last couple of years, in my opinion. And maybe not being super athletic and catching 50 passes, but Cade Stover, G. Scott, they've added a lot of physicality at the line of scrimmage, and I think helped them do a lot of different things. How is that position, and how has running back looked so far through fall camp?
Yeah, it's funny. Last year, Keenan Bailey, the tight ends coach, started spring practice by basically writing on the wall, "This is the least talented unit on the team," and the players looked at him like, "What?" But it was the truth. This year, that's not the case. First of all, they got Max Clare from Purdue, who, on a very, very bad Purdue team, was by far the leading receiver, and he can really be a dynamic weapon for Ohio State, especially when you figure that defenses are going to be geared to stopping Jeremiah Smith, and you have Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes. So adding a pass-catching tight end like Max Clare could be huge. Running back, again, you lose Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, and you'd be stupid to say you're not going to feel that. But they feel good about James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson, who's a transfer from West Virginia. They've got a freshman. They're very high on Bo Jackson. Yes, his name is Bo Jackson. So do I expect them to have 2,000-yard rushers like they did last year? No, I don't. But I think the running backs will be good enough. I think that Ohio State's clearly going to be a passing team this year more than a running team, but they can run. That needs to play out. And James Peoples looked good last year as a freshman. He just didn't get as much action as I kind of thought he would.
As I go through and start to think about possible playoff teams this year, I keep coming back to Ohio State and trying to figure out where they lose. I could see them losing to Texas. That wouldn't surprise anybody. That's a good Texas team. That's a toss-up game. Either side could lose and still find themselves very much in the playoff mix. I could see them losing at Washington, perhaps, but probably unlikely, not coming off the bye. I think Washington's a little dangerous, but not off a bye. I just don't see it, especially with Texas being such a good opponent. They're going to be buttoned up after that game because they might get exposed in a certain area and get it addressed in the following weeks. I don't know where they lose. I don't see them losing to Illinois. I think Illinois is fine, but not anywhere near Ohio State's skill level. Penn State at home, I really like the Buckeyes to play well at home. I think Penn State's better, so I might lean them there. And then at Michigan, I just can't imagine them losing again at Michigan this year. I just can't. I'd be too surprised with what Michigan has to replace, and a true freshman quarterback at that. So
skipping week one?
I already did. I said
okay,
Texas.
Sorry,
I'm thinking like worst case scenario, 10-2. Like, I don't see how this team can play their way out of the playoffs, Bill. If you're going to be just kind of a little pessimistic, what do you think has to happen for them to miss the playoff?
Well, look, they do have 3 losable games. And if they lose all 3 of those, Texas, Penn State, and Michigan, they'd be in trouble. Those are all losable games. I mean, there is a psychological element to the Michigan game after losing 4 straight. So by then, Bryce Underwood would probably be a fairly seasoned quarterback. Penn State has tried the Ohio State-Michigan formula of keeping their guys for an extra year. Maybe this is the year that James Franklin can get over the hump. Obviously, it's a tough game playing in Columbus, but it's possible. And Texas, of course, like you said, the toss-up game. And I'm glad you pointed out the Washington and Illinois games. I think those are tricky. Cross-country travel is always interesting. Ohio State has not always played well coming out of a bye. But yeah, I basically agree with you. I think that it'll be very surprising if Ohio State doesn't make the playoff. But it is a new team in a lot of ways. I mean, it's a hell of a foundation to have Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, and Sonny Styles as returning starters. There's no doubt about that. They're, I don't know that there's a better three-summer players that any team has in the country than those guys. And they have other guys. Davis Sigbedosen's a good cornerback who's now determined to cut down on the pass interference calls. There's lots of talent. There's no doubt about that. But it's still a young team. Does Julian Sand have some first-year, issues? I mean, who knows? I think he's a really talented guy, but he hasn't played in games of these magnitudes. So I think there will be bumps along the way. Do those bumps result in losses, or just kind of like games like last year where they almost lost to Nebraska? I think they're a very talented team, but I think that there are enough questions about them that I wouldn't say they're a sure thing.
Bill, before we let you run, wanted to get your let our listeners know about your new book that you have out, Buckeye Brotherhood, on Ohio State's recent national championship. I know one for a lot of reasons had to be pretty cool to put together.
Yeah, it's my third Ohio State kind of season book, and I honestly think it's the best of them because it's in some ways a biography of Ryan Day, and nobody's ever done that. delving into his background. His father died by suicide when he was very young, and he talked about that and just the effect that it had on him. And there were so many great people stories in the book. Everyone knows what happened, the Jack Sawyer play and things like that. But the idea of or getting to go behind the scenes and figuring out how and why they, for example, recovered from the Michigan loss. What was it that they did in a big team meeting? And I was able to piece together most of what happened in that meeting. I'm just glad I was able to tell the story. Because it's an amazing story. I'm not talking about the writing. The writing, people. The writing is what it is, but the story and the people, even like the kicker, who battled an adductor injury all year. He was feeling terrible against Michigan, and he misses 2 field goals, and needs a police escort to go to class the next week. And then he gets the redemption by kicking the clinching field goal against Notre Dame. Stories like that. I was just so happy to be able to tell their stories, and so. Everyone knows what happened, but again, I don't think many people know how or why it happened.
No, and there's some cool, like you said, with some of the injuries that took place, the transfers that came in, some of the other reasons that some of those transfers were brought in, maybe not just for their football prowess, but leadership, attitude, demeanor, things like that. And then just what it looked like they were going to be going into the playoffs. I didn't think they could win a national title with how they were playing. And I'm sure after the Michigan game, not a lot of even Ohio State fans really believed that they could go on that run and win the title the way they did. So looking forward to checking that out, Bill. It's always great to visit with you. Thank you for your time today.
All right. Thanks for having me on. It's always nice to be on with you guys.
Yes, sir. It's Bill Rabunowitz, covers the Ohio State Buckeyes. Great stuff on this Ohio State team. Injecting some confidence where I think a lot of people are lacking it with this Buckeye squad, Greg. I don't know exactly where you are with it, but hearing you talk about the schedule and what maybe the worst case scenario would be, it seems like you feel pretty good about what they're going to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, I do. I look at them over and over and over again, and I just have a hard time imagining a team like Illinois rallying up and getting the Buckeyes. I just don't see it. Michigan's a hard game. It's on the road. We know that. Texas is a hard game. It's at home. We know that. Penn State's a hard game. It's at home. We know that. How hard is it to win on the road in the Big Ten? Hard. Very hard. So I think it's going to be hard for Texas to win that game. I think I probably lean just ever so slightly in favor of Texas, but not by a ton. That game's going to come down to the wire. I'd be surprised if it didn't. But the rest of them, it's hard for me to envision a scenario where Ohio State's worse than 10-2. And I think this year, as crazy as it may sound, last year there was one team with 3 losses in the college football playoff. It was Clemson. They won the ACC. I look at it this year. I think Texas could have 3 losses. I think Ohio State is possible to have 3 losses, but that means they lost all 3 of their toss-ups. I think Bama could have 3 losses, but probably unlikely. I look at their schedule. Things set up really well for them. I'd probably lean closer to 2 with them. I think Oregon could have probably 2 losses, maybe 3. I think Georgia could have 3 losses. I think the Big 12 champ could have 3 losses. I think Miami could be in the mix with 3 losses. I think another Big Ten team could be in the mix with 3 losses. Like, I just think we're going to have a bunch of 3-loss playoff teams this year.
Yeah.
And that's because it's hard to differentiate those teams that are going to excel beyond and go 11-1 or 10-2.
It just goes along with the very similar thought process of the SEC in its entirety to the rest of college football. Is the middle of the pack is just going to be so entertaining this year.
No doubt.
Because they all feel like they can beat each other. As you stated, some are going to extend and be better than we actually expected. Some are going to fall back, and we'll get probably a lot of competitive games, a lot of close games, a lot of good games, one-score games decided late. Could make for a really exciting college football season. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
How many 3-loss teams do you think will make the playoff this year? There's one last year.
I'll say this. I don't think there's going to be an undefeated team in.
I think Penn State's got a chance to go undefeated. I think Clemson has a chance to go undefeated.
I just don't think undefeated.
Okay.
Because even those teams, we sat there and talked about the holes they have and some of the deficiencies and concerns, and then the other teams that could sneak up on them because they have a few things that we think are going to be really good. I think there'll be multiple 3-loss teams in.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not more than 3, but I think there'll be 2. Yeah,
I can see 2.
2 for sure.
Yeah, same page.
All right, we'll get to a little bit more on the playoff. Bad box score of the day. You're going to have to wait for that first, Greg, but one thing you never have to wait for.
It's your dental care. It's Family Care Dental. They can get you in the same day. Patients of all ages are accepted. They also can make sure that they can see you at one of their several locations: Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, Trustful. They are all over the place to make it easy on you. They can get you in on Fridays and Saturdays, which is great during the school year with the schedules as chaotic as they are. They accept most insurance plans and patients of all ages. So call them today for an appointment. 874-9605. It's Family Care Dental. 874-9605.
All right, get to a break. Come back. Wrap up today's show next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:52, Wednesday, August 20th, right here on Jox 94.5.
Polar Bear Services, one-stop shop. They're at my house yesterday doing an amazing job. Always appreciate the service I experience when I work with Polar Bear Services. They're so great, and they are so terrific at what they do. And I just call them for pretty much everything, which is extremely helpful when taking things into account. They helped me yesterday with plumbing. They've helped me in the past with HVAC. That's why my system's running so smoothly this year, and they're terrific when it comes to electrical work as well. So call Wes and the guys today. They're the very best. I know you guys will feel the exact same way I feel the second you have them out to your home. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
All right, quickly, a bad box score of the day. We will roll right into it. The IFL, which is the
Indoor Football League.
There you go. The Iowa
Barnstormers?
Correct.
There you go.
They were in a bit of a tussle for a minute with the Fishers.
The Prices.
Yeah, this kind of doesn't make sense when you have to do it this way, but it will make sense, I think, when it's revealed.
They're the Sharks.
They're the Freight.
The Freight. Love that.
And Fisher was moving the Freight against the Barnstormers last week.
Got him.
Final of 81-40.
That's it?
That's all.
Okay.
That's not bad.
It was 81-40.
Only a double up.
Fisher's Freight takes the win. Now, what's odd here is indoor football. We don't really think about this very often, but Fisher's outrushed Iowa 154-6.
In indoor football?
In indoor football.
That doesn't happen very often.
Iowa actually outpassed Fisher's 216-113.
Wow, an Iowa team threw the ball. Look at God.
I mean,
that's where Kurt Warner was. Don't hate.
Go in there and get it.
Don't hate.
I wanted to give you some of the actual rushing numbers from the individuals for this game. For Fisher's Freight, Dominic Roberto, 11 for 73, 2 touchdowns. Josiah King, 6 for 37, 2 touchdowns. Jerron McGraw, 7 for 34, 3 touchdowns. And Felix Harper, 7 for 8 and a touchdown.
Okay.
Who thought ground and pound was going to be the way to go in the indoor football league?
Got to switch it up.
I think that's where the world's going.
That's what indoor football is going to
ground and pound.
Put in their hand.
Put a hand in it.
Chafe.
Put your fullback / middle linebacker / nose tackle / running back there and let him eat.
Into tape.
Into date.
So yeah, that was your bad box score of the day. A little indoor football action.
Heck yeah. Send it.
81 points in a game, though. I don't really care. Maybe more embarrassing was the previous week when Fisher's Freight knocked off the Tulsa
Rampage.
Great guess, by the way.
Tornadoes.
No, they're actually. Do you want to take a shot at it, John?
It's a shock.
They're the Oilers. They just straight stole that one.
Oilers. Come on, man.
What stole? It's not being used.
We're gonna just take that one from you guys.
What are their colors? Too soon?
Green and yellow. It looks like.
They can't go with blue. They
just
can't go
green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow.
The final score was 33-7. In an indoor league football game, you scored 7 points.
The field's 50 yards long.
It's
defense.
Not great. Now the uprights are a little more narrow, so I guess getting a field goal in there would have been tough.
True. 4 down territory.
Yeah. Tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Shannara Flooring is great. They have so much stock in stock right now. The Core-Tech flooring by Shaw in stock right now, 40,000 square feet of it. And what's beautiful about that is you can get tremendous savings because you can take advantage of how overstocked they are. You can get $10 off per box off that Core-Tech flooring by Shaw. That's going to be durable, dependable, waterproof, pet-proof, kid-proof, you name it. It's going to upgrade your home or business. So highly recommend you going and checking out Shannara Flooring by going to footandyou.com. That's footandyou.com. 12 months financing available. Footandyou.com.
Nothing spells indoor football like the winning quarterback Felix Harper, 3 of 8 for 47 yards and a touchdown. Hassan Rogers, the losing quarterback, 10 of 18, 85 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
As I said, picks, turnovers, turnover differential.
That's all you need.
Gets you every time.
Knows indoor football too.